Japanese student Ryusuke Kakuyama just got into his dream college. Then a truck slams into him, sending him straight to another world. He reincarnates into a dirt-poor farming family. Forget being royalty. Seems that truck really had a serious grudge against our guy. Just his luck, right? On top of the poverty, he gets bullied for his jet black hair. A rare sight in this world. But wait, a flicker of hope. A system notification pops up, and he thinks his life is finally turning around. He's expecting a major upgrade, maybe godlike power, or a cheat skill. Nope, that hope gets crushed fast. The system basically calls him a loser, a total bottom feeder. Dreams shattered, he's got no choice but to grind just to pay the family debt. Our boy thought he'd shine like a hero or some legendary knight. Then one day, that dream gets a reality check when a gray bear attacks. Ian and his little sister are saved by a passing mage. She just vaporizes that massive bear, gone in a single flash. He's stunned. What's a powerful mage doing in this backwater village? She sparks his curiosity, claiming a prophecy sent her to find a black-haired boy. She says he matches the description perfectly, and Ian is beyond confused. Wait, anyone can be a mage. That thought lights a fire in him. He starts dreaming big. Maybe one day he can wield magic too. She promises that even a lowly peasant can change his fate. Then she offers to teach him. He realizes he can flip this garbage destiny. If he takes the deal, everything changes. The mage drags her new student into a small room for lesson 1. Ian immediately faces his toughest opponent yet, a massive textbook. It is packed with basic magic theory titled Moronius. By the way, she personally visited his parents and the local lord, all to make sure there wouldn't be any trouble down the road. With everyone's hopes riding on him, Ian is ready to give it his all. She preps his first lesson, and his system starts tracking his progress. Every page he turns, the bar climbs. Moronius hits 27%. Then comes a mountain of other books. Countless weird spells, kind of like Harry Potter style. He keeps pushing, grinding away, leveling up his stats through pure study. Finally, he hits 99% completion. Moronius is fully mastered, and just like that, our boy is ready. Growing up, Ian was ready to give his absolute all. Now he's prepping for his first lesson while the system tracks him. Every time he turns a page, the system logs his progress. The Moronius book hits 27% completion, along with those thick tomes and countless bizarre spells. Honestly, feels just like Harry Potter. He finally nears the end. He's pushing 99% completion now. Moronius is fully mastered, but then he realizes something. Now he can channel magic language with absolute, perfect precision. For 7 long years, he has mastered exactly how mages use it. Just like that, all that time flashes right before our eyes. 7 years of intense study, and yet, our hotshot female mage instructor looks exactly the same as day one. She decides. Their private sessions must come to an end, since Ian has clearly grown up. It is time they turn the page together. His only skill right now is pure mastery of magic language, and the raw ability to manipulate it. Next up, we see breathtaking mountains stretched out under a peaceful, clear sky. But wait, right there, below that gorgeous horizon, poor Ian is getting tortured, free falling from way up high. He screams, begging his master to slow down, but clearly, this teacher is enjoying his misery a little too much. Ian is shaking in pure terror, complaining that he has spent -1 years only learning one damn language, so he is hardly a real mage. The master just eyes him with pure amusement, while the poor guy is crying, begging for someone to save him. Way up there in the air, the mage tells him to focus on the voices all around him. Meanwhile, our guy is thinking, this crazy lady has totally lost her mind, because really, who hears voices in the middle of nowhere? Seriously. The only thing he hears right now is the wind screaming. But strangely enough, as Ian focuses, he hears whispers, chatter from entities that seem pretty impressed that a human can actually fly. This totally catches our guy off guard. He wonders if this is the legendary guidance of Moronis. After catching those voices, his system alerts him he has unlocked a brand new skill called Wind Arts, letting him manipulate wind magic. I honestly love that his very first combat skill is basically just turning into a superhero. After that brutal training, the master keeps teasing him, laughing at his pathetic state. Ian mocks her right back for getting her kicks out of his pain, but she was really talking about the realm of mages, those who borrow power from nature's secrets by actually communicating with them. That is how magic works in this world. Leaving him stunned, the mage remarks that it was just the wind talking, and he needs to learn to hear the other elements too. Ian finally gets how it works. He eagerly follows her lead, aiming his hand while she gives him a dead serious look. She assigns task number 2, master the water arts. Just like you guessed, our guy gets tossed into the deep, choking and struggling, forced to master water magic, or drown in the sea. He can barely even communicate now. He fights the rushing water, just struggling to keep his head above. Then his teacher demands he master ice magic right now. She literally throws him into freezing Antarctic water, teeth chattering time. His master is feeling pretty hopeful, honestly impressed by how he learns. But meanwhile, our boy Ian is questioning his entire existence. He's barely keeping pace, gasping for breath at every turn. Without a second thought, this fiery, insane mage snaps her fingers. Hellfire explodes into existence right in front of him. Ian knows exactly what is coming next. After freezing his soul, this lady is ready to roast him alive. He begs her to spare him, but the crackle of fire, it just ignites his curiosity. He can't help himself. His first thought, whether those flames could actually burn him to a crisp. Now, you can imagine his reaction, knowing he is about to be literal barbecue. He is staring death in the face and still asking questions. The next scene shifts into deep, dark caves. Ian has to reach enlightenment on earth magic, his final task. The voice of the earth is surprisingly soft, rambling on about philosophy. It sounds like a wise old monk. Ian is completely lost. He has no clue what the hell he is listening to. Does he just lack the talent to understand this element? He takes it as a sign to leave, turning back to find the exit. But then the system notification pops up, a major alert. He just earned bonus skill points, 100 points. Just like that. These points help him boost his existing magic mastery instantly. It confirms what Ian already suspected about himself. He is basically a cheat in this world. I mean, who gets power-ups like this for free? Since Earth is the element he lacks, he taps the screen. He pours those points in, deciding to level up right now. A blinding blue light flashes the second his finger hits. The voice of the Earth suddenly screams a warning. Magma is right beneath him. If he isn't careful, the ground shakes. An earthquake could send that lava erupting to the surface. Ian finally gets it. He understands what that voice meant. His goal now is simple: get out of here alive. He needs to tell his master he heard the mystical voice. Ian summons a burst of fire to light his path. Suddenly, a different voice screams in pain. It is absolutely furious at the light he just created. Ian tries to talk to it, asking if it is the Earth's voice too. But this isn't an element his master ever warned him about. You see, there is only one thing that truly hates the light. It is the voice of the shadows, the darkness itself. Ian freezes, and the mystery just got a whole lot darker. Shocked, Ian stares as his master watches from the sidelines. She checks her schedule, realizing she might need to attend a Fire Mage Summit. Her student rushes out in a panic, and she offers him a quick congratulation. Ian finally succeeded, and he can't wait to share some big news. He's actually managed to connect with the shadows, the dark, Forbidden's power. This revelation leaves the Master Mage completely stunned, mouth hanging wide open. She never expected him to tap into such a dangerous, dark force. It makes her wonder if he really stumbled upon such a sinister mystery. Her sudden silence makes Ian nervous. He's worried about what she's thinking. Finally, she turns to her student, telling him they need to descend the mountain. The boy eagerly agrees, wondering where their next adventure will lead them. But he's completely misread the situation. Ian has no idea what's coming. His master is talking about something else entirely, and it changes everything. She declares that from this point on, they are officially going their separate ways. Pointing toward the left, she advises him to head out on his own. She wants him to go to Chronolith for the upcoming Spacetime Mage Conference. It is a rare path, but if he has the talent for the arts, it's worth it. Plus, he might just get lucky and meet a master of space and time there. The young man is dazed. He didn't expect to be thrown into a new field. He barely knows anything about spacetime magic, and now he is diving in. Looking at his bewildered expression, she can't help but be amused. Alice reflects on his natural potential. He was born to solve deep mysteries. Following her intuition, she is certain he will master spacetime powers soon. With those parting words, their time training together finally comes to an end. Alice is genuinely excited to see how he grows over the next 3 years. She looks forward to their reunion in Ranheim. It is a long time away. The scene shifts, and we get our first look at the town she mentioned. It is a rustic, quiet place, even with people bustling through the streets. Ian wanders around, searching for the conference his master told him about. He still thinks that woman is impossible to predict, pushing him out here. A man in the crowd, who seems to be a guide, offers his services. He is ready to help anyone planning to head up toward the north. Ian recalls his master's words. The conference is definitely held in the north. Since he has some free time, he figures this is the perfect chance to go. Without wasting another second, he decides to hit the road immediately. The next scene shows a group of travelers setting up camp to rest. Ian is among them, sitting quietly while taking a break from the long trek. One of the men is the Merchant Guild leader who called out to him earlier. He is the one running this whole operation. Nick asks if this is the boy's very first trip up to the north. Ian confirms he is only heading that way because of some urgent business. The older man chuckles, noting that the kid probably knows nothing about Dragon Mountain. Ian looks confused, having only heard rumors about the place. People say it is full of beautiful black drake dragons, which sounds amazing. But that beauty hides danger. Those drakes are not easy to deal with. Nick acts all friendly, leaning in close to the young lad. He asks if Ian knows how to fight or if he'll just run. Ian feels pretty uneasy, admitting he isn't exactly confident in himself. The moment those words leave his mouth, Nick's mask just slips. The once kind man turns aggressive, labeling the boy completely useless. When Nick demands to know his job, Ian sheepishly shares the truth. Something about that admission completely snaps Nick out of his trance. He starts shaking, trembling as he bows and calls him Master Mage. Nearby, a mysterious girl catches the tail end of their tense exchange. She turns, her hooded cloak swirling, curious about the sudden shift. Other men nearby stare, dumbfounded, struggling to process what they just heard. Ian is honestly baffled, not grasping why they're acting so shocked. His simple, quiet reveal has completely altered the air in the room. It is as if everyone is suddenly worshipping his hidden, raw power. Nick is practically groveling now, acting like a servant at his feet. He eagerly piles more food onto Ian's bowl, ignoring his polite refusal. Nick practically sprints to the server, desperate to fetch a fresh dish. Whispers ripple through the crowd, all centering on Ian's status as a mage. A few of them look skeptical, doubting if a kid has real talent. They see his appearance and write him off as a weakling. These haters start mocking him, convinced he's just a pathetic liar. They keep poking at him, sure he has absolutely zero real skills. Ian is too kind-hearted to care, letting their insults just fade away. That girl from earlier steps in, leaning close to speak to him. She whispers, "If you really are a mage, you should prove it. Show them a bit of magic so they know who's really in charge." It's a pretty bold, aggressive strategy to deal with these loud mouths. Even then, Ian doesn't quite get her point. He's just too innocent. She explains that mercenaries love to bully the quiet, reserved types. They treat silence as weakness, constantly testing anyone who keeps to themselves. That is why guys like Ian have to flash their real strength, just to shut up everyone who doubts what he can really do. Because if he takes charge, these mercenaries will fall right in line. They would become his subordinates, guarding him from every little problem. It is a wild idea for Ian, but he gets her point. Still, he has no clue how to actually handle this weird situation. Our boy has never really had a reason to get angry before. Right in the middle of their talk, a waiter sits nearby. He spits right into Ian's bowl, then wipes it with a leaf. That level of disrespect finally snaps something inside the young lad. Ian can't believe some punk actually dared to ruin his meal. The ground begins to tremble violently, signaling that disaster is coming. That waiter turns pale, realizing he just crossed a dangerous line. Ian steps forward, aura heavy and oppressive, demanding an answer now. The server is shaking, terrified of what happens next. Terrified, the waiter pisses himself, scrambling to beg the mage for forgiveness. Ian is absolutely livid over the man's pathetic, sorry excuse for service. The waiter keeps babbling, trying to justify his disgusting behavior like it's normal. Ian's blood boils. The guy's idea of a perfect clean is spitting on the plate. The waiter actually doubles down, claiming clean water is way too dirty to use. Ian stares, stunned he can't even begin to wrap his head around that logic. Then challenges the waiter, demanding he explain how that makes any sense at all. The waiter goes on, detailing how water is just full of parasites and mud. He's convinced this justifies his choice to never, ever use a drop of water. Honestly, it's the most deranged, back-to-front reasoning Ian has ever heard in his life. The guy truly believes his own spit is somehow cleaner than fresh water. That revelation hits Ian like a truck, leaving him completely traumatized and utterly repulsed. He's haunted by the thought, unable to shake it off for the entire night. The poor guy just freezes, staring blankly at these mercenaries and their gross staff. It really sinks in. This medieval world has zero concept of basic hygiene. Ian snaps, coldly muttering a single spell under his breath to draw power. Suddenly, flames erupt from the nearby campfire, roaring to life with terrifying heat. The fire towers high, dwarfing everyone, threatening to consume everything in its path. Even the girl who warned him looks on, clearly shocked by his raw display. Ian doesn't waver, commanding them with icy authority to get real water now. He berates the lot of them, calling them nothing but filthy, medieval trash. The two men scramble away in a panic, still clueless about what they did wrong. Meanwhile, the night settles into a quiet, eerie calm as everyone drifts off. Everyone except for the group of mercenaries out hunting for the missing Kathy. One creep has other plans, looking to hunt Kathy down for his own sick satisfaction. He's clearly desperate, acting out in the middle of the night like a total animal. He catches a glimpse of her in the distance and calls out, acting all friendly. But then he realizes something. Kathy isn't just standing there. She's totally unconscious. She's been snatched by a band of bandits right under their noses. The mercenaries scream at the kidnappers, trying to put on a tough front. But their big show of force fails instantly when one of them gets dropped. An arrow rips straight through his chest, taking him out before he can react. The mercenaries roar in fury, watching their comrade fall to these unknown attackers. They charge forward, dead set on hunting down and slaughtering every single one. The mysterious leader just sneers, looking at them like they're nothing but insects. But right then, Kathy snaps awake and starts biting down on the leader's back. She's relentless, and he's forced to toss her aside before she takes a chunk off. He isn't risking his arm to her legendary biting technique, not today. Kathy scrambles away as fast as she can, struggling for her very life. The leader screams for his men to hunt her down and finish it. And while all this mayhem is going down, our boy is still fast asleep. He's stuck in his tent, trapped in memories that he really can't escape. Every time he closes his eyes, he's still thinking about those medieval freaks. Honestly, it's going to be a long time before he gets over the spit. These medieval jerks actually use spit to handle things. The chaos outside snaps him right out of a waking nightmare. A mysterious voice echoes in his head, "Hurry, wake up now." He feels a sharp chill in the air before he even hears them. Footsteps, heavy, rhythmic, mercenaries are charging straight toward his position. Lick is the first to burst in, shouting for the mage. He is panicked, practically shaking. They are in serious trouble now. The next scene hits hard as our guy rushes to the fight. Mercenaries are locked in a brutal life or death struggle with bandits. Their leader is a monster, easily the strongest one on the field. He swings his blade like he is cutting through nothing but air. No mercy in his eyes. He orders his men to kill everyone. They are hunting for a woman. She is their only target here. Kathy is huddled behind a tree nearby, shivering in pure terror. She is paralyzed, not knowing what to do as the net tightens. One of the bandits gets close, searching every shadow for her. He spots her, turning her worst nightmare into a cold reality. He presses his blade to her face, threatening to sever her arm. Unless she stands up right now, he is going to end her. Kathy is spiraling, desperate, feeling like her life is about to snap. The ruthless scum raises his sword, ready to finish her off for good. But in that final split second, a crushing blow slams into him. The force is so immense the ground beneath them cracks and splits. Kathy freezes, stunned, as her savior lands right behind the attacker. Ian has arrived, weaving his magic just in the nick of time. She stares up at him in shock as he grabs her hand. "Stay close to me," he commands, his confidence cutting through her fear. The others scramble, linking up behind him like a human chain. It looks a bit ridiculous, but this formation is actually quite tactical. Ian is getting ready to unleash a massive, high-level spell. He chants an incantation, channeling power much like a blazing furnace. But instead of fire, he gathers raw shadows and crackling lightning. He fuses them into a sphere, drawing every eye in the clearing. Every mercenary and bandit stops cold, staring at the dark energy. In a blink, the entire area is swallowed by pitch-black gloom. They cannot see a thing. Panic starts to set in instantly. They lift their torches high, but the light just vanishes into nothing. Now watch this. They start slamming into each other in confusion. It is absolute chaos, like the power just went out everywhere. While they fumble, Ian's human chain keeps his grip totally secure. He leads with confidence while the others shadow his every step. Using this technique, he is certain they can slip away unseen. This is a dark art, perfectly combined with his unique vision. He can see clearly through the void, tracking every enemy movement. But unfortunately, a bit of bad luck changes the entire rhythm. One of the attackers stumbles right into Lick, ruining the plan. Things get ugly fast as the guy swings his blade to attack. With so little room to move, Lick is frozen in sheer terror. Vason is spared. He is just an old man with no fight left. So Ian lunges forward, pulling out his signature fire spell. Remember back then, he only used it to light a tiny torch. No way this time. Our guy really goes for it. He wraps that fire around the attacker, burning him alive. Soon enough, the guy drops to the ground, charred like burnt steak. The rest of the gang is terrified. They know they aren't facing a rookie. Even Ian knows this display of raw power is a massive statement. It is more than enough to scare the others into running for their lives. Just like he guessed, total panic breaks out among the remaining bandits. They scramble to bolt, but their leader roars, refusing to let them flee. He forces them to charge in, despite the mounting fear in the air. But all of that changes in a heartbeat when a black dragon shows up. Ian is stunned. The beast snaps the leader's head clean off. A truly gruesome end that sends pure terror through the survivors. But it does not stop there. Even our hero is shaken to his core. Watch this, the situation just shifted into something way more dangerous. Everything is different now with this giant man-eating beast on the loose. The monster stares down at the group with a strange, hungry curiosity. It chews on the bandits, treating them like a fresh, easy meal, like a predator that just stumbled onto an all-you-can-eat buffet. The remaining bandits scream and scatter, fleeing for their lives. But the dread spreads quickly through Ian and his own group too. Lick points a trembling hand, signaling the mage toward the dragon. Ian is confident as a mage, sure, but he is completely out of his league. He has zero experience fighting a creature as monstrous as this one. Even Ian realizes they might be walking straight into their own doom. Meanwhile, the system chimes in. They are facing a primal mystery. And get this, that little notification, it actually unlocks a new skill. Summoning, it lets Ian communicate with and call forth other life forms. Honestly, that sounds pretty convenient given their current odds of survival. But it also makes our guy wonder if this beast is even different. Are they all just ancient elements he has run into before? If he can actually talk to this thing, maybe they can survive. Despite the hesitation, Ian decides to bet it all on a gamble. He calls out to the dragon, blood still dripping from its massive jaws. Lick and the others are certain they are about to be sent to hell. Even with Ian standing guard, they think this is the end. While our mage keeps his eyes locked on the growling beast, the monster roars, trying to intimidate the tiny humans before it. Gathering every bit of confidence he has, Ian continues to reach out. The beast in front of him growls, trying to scare everyone. Finding a bit of confidence, Ian tries to communicate. He knows the truth. No mystery has ever dared betray his hard work. The mage introduces himself, though in the cheesiest way imaginable. He claims he is actually a friend of the Black Dragon. Right, looks like he picked up the talk no jutsu from Naruto. 7 years of reincarnation, and this is what he pulls. Anyway, the dragon is confused, and so is his entire party. Ian is basically sketching a diagram in his head, explaining friendship. But wait, this guy forgets the beast just ate a fresh guy. Literally chewed him up, a man, fresh and raw, right there. The beast growls back, leaving everyone wondering what it just said. Ian looks totally confident, but the funny thing, he has no clue what the beast is actually saying to him. He is just as lost as the rest of them, no communication. With 0 options, he dumps his remaining points into his stats, all into summoning, hoping to finally bridge the language gap. After boosting that summoning stat, our boy finally gets it. He understands the Black Dragon tongue, a chance to talk. Ian tries calling out to the dragon to double-check, but his effort just triggers the beast. It goes into a rage. It roars right in his face for wasting its precious time. His party is shaking in their boots, but Ian stays calm. He carefully rearranges his words to try the pitch again. He explains he has no intention of fighting the monster. The dragon retorts, how stupid to even entertain that thought. Ian plays along, agreeing that he knows he would lose. He admits they would lose instantly if they tried an attack. He is stroking the dragon's massive ego with every single word, making it sound like fighting a great beast is just a waste. The dragon is proud, thinking these humans are begging for mercy. Lick and the others assume they are actually having a conversation. Kathy just waits patiently, watching the whole tense scene play out. The dragon roars that killing the weaklings is truly a waste. And that is exactly what our boy wants to hear right now. Ian starts to think this negotiation is finally going their way. Just one small problem. The mood is still sour. The beast roars that its mood is currently absolute trash. It has no intention of letting them walk away just yet. Ian's party is on their knees, begging for their lives. Oh boy is left wondering what his next move should be. Ian takes the hint the dragon is telling him to leave, but he has no choice left. He has to face it head on. Fighting isn't the goal, though not by a long shot. The mage suddenly turns into a therapist, asking why the mood is bad. Still furious, the dragon roars. It has no reason to go. It is just plain angry, and our boy is stuck in the middle. Telling that to a human, Ian replies, He's just looking to help. He wants to offer a hand to calm the black dragon's rising temper. His proposal sounds pretty arrogant to a beast of such ancient power. The dragon thinks a useless human couldn't possibly do anything helpful here. In response, the mage chants a rapid string of arcane spell words. Suddenly, water surges high, splashing everywhere, a sight truly bizarre for the group, and even more confusing to the monster standing right in front of them. Meanwhile, Ian wraps himself in a strange, shimmering field of mystical light, drawn in by this sudden, flashy display of pure magic. The beast is hooked now, its attention fully locked onto him. Young Ian insists he's nothing more than a humble mage, just a guy trying to connect with the deep mysteries of the world. That is why he wants to help the black dragon with everything he has. Watching the beast hold back its rage, Ian knows he has the advantage. Now pay attention, because this is where the real negotiation finally begins. We cut to the next scene, midnight falling over the dark landscape. The dragon's bloodlust has faded, and it's finally open to talking. Our boy is just relieved to still be standing in one piece. He barely dodged certain death for himself and his friends tonight. But the real problem, meeting all these insane demands, one by one. Ian weighs his options, knowing the black dragon holds all the cards. It means the mage has to be smart, playing his hand carefully. A sudden memory of his master flashes back into his mind. She always told him, "You can't master magic without mastering true communication." That is the secret to everything, the core of their entire craft. Building a real relationship with these mysteries is absolutely essential to survive. Friend or foe, every mystery carries its own raw nature, its own temper. A mage's job is to recognize and empathize with those deep spirits. Following their hearts, he understands now what she really meant. In other words, Ian realizes that basic human connection is a survival skill. Right here, in a situation hanging by a single, thin thread, he has the perfect chance to prove he can tame a drake, getting it to drop that bloodlust and actually listen to him talk. To reach that goal, he pulls up his hidden skill window. The system displays a technique called Master Summoning Management. Basically, this is everything our guy needs to solve his current problem. At first, it looks like the quickest way out of this mess. But he slows down, considering it, finding it all a bit strange. Because this still actually requires feeding the drake some high-quality wine. Ian keeps reading the system notes, sweating bullets as he scrolls. Because the next step requires him to flatter these entities endlessly. He has to schmooze and sweet-talk his way through this encounter. In short, the most useful advice this system gives him is simple. Just pour the wine and turn into the ultimate fanboy for the beast. Because apparently, that is the only way to get what he wants. Trying to flirt with influencers on Twitter, Ian just feels completely defeated. He finally admits it. A mission like this is basically impossible, especially for a loner like him. And even the drake seems confused. The beast is clearly wondering what the hell this guy is trying to do. Ian regroups, stealing his resolve. He figures he needs a new approach. Maybe start by winning over the beast's heart. It is the only way. The only way to make any real progress here. So Ian speaks up. He tells the drake he has prepared a special gift, a real treat. The great beast, naturally, gets curious. It demands the gift right now. Ian calls out to Lich, who jumps at the sudden, sharp command. The young man tells the old guy to bring their strongest liquor, and he needs it immediately. A moment later, the man returns. He carries a box with an incredibly refined, high-end bottle inside. He presents it right in front of the drake. The monster looks puzzled. It has no clue what the purpose of this gift actually is. Ian is honestly fuming inside. The beast is just so ungrateful. But outside, he keeps his cool, looking totally unfazed and smooth. He explains that this is a treasure in the human world. He pours a massive glass, then offers it up to the monster. The drake sniffs it at first, clearly smelling something pretty strange. The beast's rage flares up instantly. It is suspicious of everything. It thinks this human is pulling some kind of 3000 IQ play, trying to betray it or set a trap. Ian's group is terrified. But there is no trick here. Ian has to prove his point. He downs the whole glass in one go, totally unfazed. Even his own group is shocked. He just keeps pushing forward. Ian waves his hand, acting like it was nothing at all. Deep down, though, he is reeling. That stuff is way too strong. The Drake is annoyed. The smell is awful, so it pinches its nose. The Mage insists, try a sip and see if it makes you feel better. The beast stares at the glass. That tiny cup is nothing to it. Ready to get it over with, it flicks its tongue out to taste. Ian's group is praying for their lives, but suddenly the Drake reacts. It starts twisting and squirming like a little girl, totally unexpected. Even though the taste is clearly not meant for a beast, this liquid is addictive. Ian catches the signal perfectly. He invites the beast to try another kind, so the night rolls on. The creature gets completely wasted after downing way too much. The Drake is feeling buzzed, finding a new passion for the bottle. But our guy is just wondering how this jerk is even still alive. After slamming 7 whole barrels, it makes no sense. Ian and the Drake have basically become drinking buddies now. Both of them realize just how insane the beast's tolerance actually is. After those 7 barrels, Ian and Conrad Key are best buds. They both realize this beast has an insane alcohol tolerance. Our guy had a solid plan to slip away while that massive, vicious lizard was fast asleep, but that dream didn't last long. Instead, Ian finds himself downing shots of booze when suddenly, the Drake calls the Mage over because he demanded to know why. It was in such a foul mood. The Drake is drunk, bawling, and tearing up just like some overly sensitive student, leaving him totally confused. It seems the Drake is stressed because its nest is in a spot way worse and harsher than any of the others, yet his partner claims she feels peaceful there. And get this guy is sobbing over his girlfriend while Ian is just sitting there wondering how the hell this ugly Drake actually landed a partner when he has nobody at all. The heartbroken beast spills that his lover finally started getting teased by others, which made it feel guilty for her. In a fit of pure rage, he actually broke up with her. It is ridiculous. The brutes roar wakes Lick and the others from their sleep in the funniest way, only to scare the living daylights out of them and shove them back to bed. Still, Ian gets it. The Drake feels the same heartbreak as any human. Right then, a plan hits him to flip the situation. He calls the beast and explains he can use magic to fix up that rundown nest. The monster is shocked by the offer. Ian jumps in, demanding a favor in return for a simple task. By the next morning, Ian is walking around while Lick is still dreaming up some nonsense love fantasy. Our young man knocks on that coward clown's head, actually getting annoyed that the old guy still hasn't snapped out of it yet. Ian threatens to snap his fingers if he does not wake up. Right now, he stares at him with a Giga Chad expression. Total JoJo energy, and that glare makes Nick freak out. The clown screams awake while the rest of the group rolls around because the old man has been out for so long. Ian had to load them all onto a carriage because the moment that dragon roared, they all just passed out on the spot. Kathy thinks she made a huge mistake tagging along with these losers, while the others ask if the Drake has gone back yet. They cling to each other in terror, sure that the monster is going to burst out at any second and slaughter them. Ian calms them down, saying the dragon is waiting in the nest. He made a deal with the beast to save his friends' lives. Just hearing that makes this bunch of clowns suddenly become his biggest fans, while Ian wonders if he should even bother. Earlier, he'd struck a deal with the creature to save his friends. Just hearing that makes these clowns turn into his biggest fans. Ian wonders if he should really rely on it, but wait. Leave them to die. That was the plan. But he had given his word. Ian promised the beast he would fix its nest in exchange for their lives. Hearing that, Nick and the others won't stop chanting the Master Mage's name. They're cheering him on, convinced he's the hero who saved them all. Our Guyan is totally lost. He doesn't get what the hype is about. See, these people are wrong. They think he beat that massive dragon to a pulp. They believe he crushed the monster for their sake, showing absolute dominance. After scolding the creature, he sent it back, forcing it to bow to him. Now these weaklings are basking in a wave of pure, misplaced gratitude. They're obsessed, feeling this surge of emotion, ready to serve him for life. Ian just finds the whole thing annoying and orders them to get ready. They need to be prepared to move out, and no one is allowed to lag behind. When he turns back, they jump to obey, acting like one big, loyal unit. Nick immediately tells them to do a head count of the remaining mercenaries. Kathy catches on, but for some reason, she's on edge, scanning the area. Now, let's shift scenes. The dragon is taking Ian back to its lair. It's a cramped, rocky mess. Ian looks genuinely surprised at the state of it. That reaction ticks the dragon off, acting like the place is a lost cause. Ian clarifies, fast. It's not that he can't fix it. He's just exhausted. He's running on empty, feeling more drained than he's ever felt before. He just wants this over with so he doesn't have to deal with it later. His plan is simple: move the jagged rocks and carve out more space. Concentrating hard, he tries to reach out to the earth elementals nearby. The spirits are cold, but Ian keeps at it until one finally decides to respond. He makes his request, but the spirit shuts him down, claiming it's too busy. It's clear to Ian that the entity isn't happy with him at all. The dragon is pacing, impatient, dying to know if the job is done. Ian explains the spirit wouldn't even listen, so he has to wait it out. He knows pushing it right now would only make the elemental angrier. The dragon sighs, accepting that it wasn't meant to be, but it's not mad. Instead of lashing out, the beast thanks Ian for even trying to help. It's grateful that a mage actually cared about a pathetic creature like it. Our guy is actually touched when the dragon asks for his real name. Ian introduces himself, and the monster responds with its name, Long to You. It wants to be friends, so Ian grabs its claw to seal the bond. That connection confirms the summoning conditions for this massive beast. The system confirms he can call on this monster whenever he likes. Still, Ian feels bad that he couldn't actually fix the nest for his friend. The beast calls him back, saying they should at least celebrate this friendship. So the dragon offers him a mountain of gold to mark the occasion. The system promises he can use this monster whenever he wants. Even so, he feels guilty for not helping his friends sooner. The beast calls them over, suggesting they celebrate their friendship. It wants to offer him a massive pile of gold. They totally misunderstand, and suddenly they're shaking. It is just plain crazy that this creature has so much treasure. And even crazier, it is willing to hand it all over to Ian. Ian inspects one of the gems, sighing with a hint of regret. If only the earth element had given him a chance, things would be different. But then, while checking another gem, our guy is suddenly stunned. He turns to Long to You, eyes wide with a wild new idea. He asks if he can doodle on the floor. The beast is confused, but it agrees anyway. A moment later, Ian begins to carve. He draws a stunning magic circle with that gem acting as the core. This is a technique his master taught him, a special method, using a magic circle to persuade a truly legendary entity. Long to You has no idea what this mage is trying to do. Meanwhile, Ian keeps insisting that this is going to be something great. Once again, he calls upon the earth element, urging it to act. It moves the heavy stones and flattens the walls, helping him out. The gem on the circle flares with a brilliant, blinding light. And sure enough, those walls begin to shift exactly to his will. Long to You is blinded by the flash, but as the light fades, when he finally looks at his nest, it is completely transformed. It has been carved into a literal masterpiece, looking divine. Ian explains that this is just a thank you gift for a friend. The little dragon is ready to cry. The cave looks absolutely badass. Even the air inside smells amazing. Long T wonders if this is the true beauty of magic as he grabs the human's hand. This time, the dragon won't hesitate to show off the new cave. To his girlfriend and even their future kids, they will feel safe. Ian doesn't ask about all that, but he is just happy to help. Except the side effects of that move are starting to kick in. His body starts to shake and a massive headache hits him hard. And before he can even figure out what is going on, the mage collapses right in front of the dragon, nose bleeding. In other words, our guy just fried his own brain. He doesn't even have a reverse cursed technique to heal himself. Panicking, the dragon tries to comfort his friend, who is gasping. The beast doesn't know what to do until suddenly Kathy screams. She calls her friend's name and rushes straight toward him. The dragon is confused while she is terrified, thinking. She honestly thinks it is about to eat her alive. She freezes when the dragon glares at her with cold eyes. It suspects she might be some kind of enemy. Kathy trembles, softening her voice to say she just wants to talk. Then she starts making those same goofy hand signs, just like Ian did earlier, trying to prove she is a friend. After a lot of struggle, the beast finally understands her intent. Both of them look toward Ian, who is still out cold. He is in bad shape, barely hanging on as the night falls. Under the dark sky, they finally bring the guy outside. Waking up, he instinctively reaches out, feeling for his phone. Like he is still back on Earth. It is funny. Instead of his phone, he grabs her hand. Then he wonders, why on earth does his phone feel like soft, squishy candy? That's strange. Soft feeling just does not make any sense. Until Kathy bluntly asks if he is awake, because the general is acting suspicious. Ian is flustered and embarrassed. He jumps right off her lap. He has no clue why she is even here. At first, he thinks it is all just a dream, but then she explains. She was shielding him after he took that hit to the head. His head is still pounding while she tells him to rest. You see, Ian is barely piecing together the truth. He blacked out, and all night he forced his own evolution process. Without letting his body adapt, Kathy watches him, looking totally confused. Meanwhile, he is left wondering, did she happen to hear everything? The guy is genuinely ashamed. He covers his face, completely overwhelmed. He asks about Longshell, but it looks like that oversized lizard has already moved on. Now he wonders if the beast is out chasing after his girl. He apologizes to Kathy for dragging her into all this trouble. He asks how on earth she even got here, especially. With Longshell guarding the place, she explains that somehow she found a way to communicate and told it they are friends. He finds that hard to believe. Did she use magic? Maybe? He is pretty drowsy, lacking all the answers, while Kathy shares. She is ready to follow him, knowing the risks involved. Actually, there is something she needs from this mage first. Kathy feels guilty about last night because she caused the attack. Ian looks shocked, and she immediately apologizes for putting them in such a dangerous spot. Our guy understands things got unstable and tense way too fast. That is when he realizes why she is shaking so hard. Ian guesses she must have some grudge against those bandits. She feels offended by the suggestion. He even straight up jokes that she looks just like a bandit herself, but Kathy drops her guard, ready to reveal a massive secret to him. Ian, get ready. This is a crazy twist coming your way. Maybe she is a princess from some kingdom. In reality, she reveals a shocking truth. Her real name is Lucy, of the Tyrion family. She is a noble. Those bandits were sent by her own fiancé. Ian immediately doubts her, thinking, this is just another petty argument between impulsive young lovers. Kathy gets frustrated by his nonsense guesses and finally shares. She was planning to vanish far away, far beyond her fiancé's control. Yet she had lost all her confidence to run since yesterday. After everything that happened, she reached out and grabbed his hand. She begged him to help her escape, catching Ian completely off guard. He wondered what on earth she was running away from so desperately. Was the situation really that bad, or was there something more here? The girl explained that the Tyrion family was just a minor house. As barons ruling Fiamlip, they lacked any knights for their own defense. They lived in constant danger, facing the risk of attack every day. Because of that, a war over territory was always looming over them. It was a direct threat to the very survival of her family. In that desperate state, she was rushed into marriage with a knight. He was a former mercenary captain brought in as a political fix. Thanks to his terrifying influence in the mercenaries, things shifted fast. Every single threat aimed at her family suddenly just melted away. At first, everything seemed fine, and he played the part well. He seems satisfied being the son-in-law of the proud Tyrion family. But then, everything fell apart. His hunger for power turned insane. He started acting like he could do absolutely anything he wanted. The guy even brought other women home, right in front of her. He treated her with nothing but absolute hatred and pure, cold contempt. It got so bad that her parents finally demanded to break things off. But the ending was nowhere near good for them, not at all. With a heavy heart, she revealed he had poisoned her own parents. Ian stood there, completely shocked by this twisted, dark truth. The girl told him how that scum was terrified of losing power. He heartlessly poisoned her entire family just to keep them in line. Even Ian had to admit this guy was a total piece of trash. Lucy explained he was just a commoner, desperate to steal their status. He used brute force to claim the name and title of her house. She only escaped with the help of a loyal servant that night. She refused to marry him, but she knew he would never stop. Now, this girl with nowhere left to go only had one wish. She begged Ian to take her somewhere safe, far away from him. Our mage understood her situation perfectly, feeling the weight of it all. He could feel the brutal nature of a man who would cross lines. Imagine being so twisted you would kidnap your own fiancé for power. It was a complex mess, even if the medieval rules were unclear. He felt for her, despite not knowing how these laws worked here. Lucy begged him to use the Vin name and protect her now. She promised to repay him with anything she had left, whatever it took. Still, one question kept bothering our guy as he looked at her. Why him? What if he just betrayed her like the others? Lucy answered, she had no way left to turn back now. Nothing could be worse than that man, so she risked it all. She's desperate. She'd trade everything just to finally be free. She even offers to help Ian claim a noble title if he joins the Tyrion clan. And get this, a little princess once promised she'd marry a commoner. For a farm boy like Ian, that's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. A direct connection to the nobility in this world. That's massive. But Ian is stuck. He can't decide what he really wants yet. If he takes this path, he'd be a noble, sure. But he'd lose everything else, his master elves, his life as a mage. He wouldn't be able to pursue the path he's always dreamed of. Still, that kind of life isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is a stable, powerful way to live deep in the world of politics. Right now, he's standing at a true crossroads of destiny, wondering who he really wants to be, a noble or a mage. But he knows he was born into this fantasy world for a reason. He has to push his magic to the absolute limit. By helping Lucy, he gains experience and keeps his pockets filled. He decides he'll drive off the kidnappers and let fate take the wheel. He clears his throat and tells Kathy she needs a better swordsman. After all, a mage isn't exactly built for the front lines. He won't be much help when things get truly dangerous. Still, he agrees to help, as long as the pay is right. From there, everything else is entirely up to him. Kathy instantly breaks down, tears of relief streaming down her face. She's so grateful she hugs Ian tight, and he just stands there. He lets her cry it all out, right there on his shoulder. Meanwhile, Drake is just chilling, soaking up the sun. Then Ian and Kathy finally walk out of the dragon's cave. Drake gets hyped up immediately, seeing his buddy again. He starts complimenting Ian's look, and Ian says they're heading down. Everyone is waiting at the bottom, so they need to move. Drake tells them to hop on, he'll give them a ride down. Ian leaps onto his back without a second thought. But Kathy is still nervous, fidgeting and looking around. Drake calls her Ian's girlfriend, telling her to hurry up. Kathy completely misunderstands him and starts shaking with embarrassment. Ian rushes to explain that they aren't actually seeing each other. Drake doesn't buy it, though they look like a cute couple to him. Kathy is still flustered, but Ian tries to calm her down. He tells her it's fine, just climb on and sit. They're embarrassed, and Ian rushes to explain the truth. He clarifies that it's not like that they don't even know each other. Drake doesn't seem to buy it. To him, they look like a couple. Kathy is still confused by the whole awkward situation. Ian tries to calm her down, telling her just to hop on. Mentioning the phoenix, naturally, Ian is instantly hooked. Looking at Ian's silhouette, she finally sees him, a true hero. Deep down, she finally decides to put her full trust in him. She climbs onto the Drake, her arms wrapped tightly around Ian. Nearby, the merchants are already caught in a heated, chaotic argument. Some demand they pack up and leave immediately, fearing the worst. They are convinced the dragon ate Ian and staying is suicide. The group is completely torn apart, split into two angry factions. They cannot agree on anything, stuck in a cycle of shouting. One side insists on waiting for the powerful mage to return. The others are desperate to flee, hunting for a safe haven. Nick thinks hard for a moment, weighing every single option. He opens his eyes and makes his stand. He gave his word. He promised Ian he would wait, and he won't break that oath. A merchant supporting him cheers loudly, relieved that they are staying put. But 10 minutes later, a band of bandits ambushes the group. They round everyone up, aggressively demanding the location of the girl. Nick plays dumb, acting confused, but a bandit cuts him off. They want the beautiful young woman with the dark blue hair. The threat is clear. Playing the fool won't save him now. Nick realizes they mean Kathy, but his heart drops into his stomach. They turn around, and he sees the space she occupied is empty. She vanished into thin air, and now the bandits are furious. They think everyone is lying, and their threats turn deadly fast. Panic erupts as the merchants scream, terrified for their own lives. Then Nick spots their savior and guardian, Ian, coming back. Everyone turns to look, eyes wide with pure, sudden relief. A Drake charges toward them at breakneck speed, closing the gap. Ian and Kathy are riding on its back, safe and sound. One bandit shakes, wondering if that woman is really their target. Panic starts to ripple through their ranks like wildfire. The beast thunders toward them, showing no mercy in its eyes. When they realize it's a Drake, not a dragon, they scramble. Every single bandit drops their gear and flees for their lives. With the threat gone, Nick is relieved Kathy made it out okay. But he's livid. Without Ian, she would have been doomed. She was headed straight for a nightmare with those cruel men. A merchant wonders how they found Kathy's trail in the first place. But that mystery has to wait, as there are no easy answers. No one can grasp how those pursuers tracked them so quickly. It makes no sense. They had only just arrived here recently. They can't understand how religious followers could be so vicious. Ian freezes the second he hears the name of the church. It has been a long time since he heard that name mentioned. It is one of the world's biggest faiths, and it claims purity. Their teachings strictly forbid slavery, yet these criminals ignore it all. Femme ignored those teachings for years on end, just to keep on trafficking and exploiting people. Even worse, though they saw a mage and a Drake with their own eyes. Those bandits refused to stop hunting Lucy. Ian realized he was dealing with desperate, stubborn men. They were ready to trade everything for gold, and that thought made him uneasy. If things kept up, they would definitely find Lucy. The thought terrified him. He knew he couldn't handle that many enemies all alone. So he turned to Drake for a hand, and it agreed without hesitation. Ian told it to chase the gang away, and if needed, kill them all. Drake's eyes gleamed with mischief at that. It was eager to do anything for its new friend. Not wasting a single second, it charged off too. Deal with the pursuing soldiers. Ian knew that. Killing was a dark thing, but this was a medieval fantasy world. Here, killing or being killed was just a part of life, too. Survive, he had to adapt. Suddenly, his head spun. From overusing the Moronius language again, Kathy rushed over. To catch him before he collapsed to the ground, she begged him not to push himself so hard. Nick immediately noticed, his eyes gleaming with a sly look as he started teasing them, asking if they were dating. Both Yen and Kathy looked absolutely horrified at the idea. This only made Nick laugh even harder. Soon, they continued their journey. All along the way, Yen kept getting notifications that Drake had finished off another target. In the end, he received 11 separate alerts. He had to admit that this automatic spell report was actually pretty convenient, even if he was annoyed he couldn't openly summon Drake in front of others. Suddenly, Drake reached out through telepathy, proudly announcing it had cleared out all the suspects it found. Ian thanked it sincerely for protecting them, but Drake just replied it only did that to keep its friend happy. Then, Drake asked if Ian really had to go. It hated saying goodbye, even though it knew they had to part ways. Ian understood Drake couldn't leave the mountains, and that saddened him. They might not see each other for a very long time. Drake thanked him once more for everything he had done. But before ending the chat, it suddenly mentioned the mystery of the Phoenix. Naturally, Ian was instantly intrigued. Finally, they reached Riverview, and Ian kept obsessing over Drake's words about the Phoenix. Those rumors were just the start. They finally reach Riverview, but Ian can't stop thinking. Drake's words about the Phoenix keep playing in his head. Rumors start flying if he proposes. Will she say yes? Rumors of an ice phoenix deep in the northern peaks pull at Ian. He feels this intense, burning desire to see the beast himself. Legend says the phoenix never truly dies, an eternal creature. It adapts through any element: fire, ice, lightning, even rock. A monster with extraordinary survival skills in every environment. Ian can't help but wonder, could he actually create one? Then, the traveling merchants arrive at the gates of Lick. They invite Ian and Kathy to meet the town lord with them. Ian shuts that down fast if they want Lucy to escape safely. Avoiding powerful nobles and high-ranking officials is his top priority. He tells them they need to rest at an inn instead. The merchants tease the two of them about it relentlessly. And get this, Kathy actually plays along with the joke. She claims she is dead tired, clinging to Ian's arm. Lit catches on and starts shipping them immediately. His face turns bright red, clearly way too excited about this. Once they are finally alone, Kathy admits her reasoning. Playing the part of his partner makes everything so much easier. It keeps the annoying pests away from her for good. Ian is not really feeling this arrangement, to be honest. He asks why she is acting so kind toward commoners. After all, he is just a farmer's son at the end of the day. Kathy responds honestly, she genuinely admires who he is. So there is no reason for her to treat him badly. Ian mulls that over, realizing he wants to stay kind to. No matter what happens, he wants to keep his natural decency. Meanwhile, Kathy quietly admires that sincerity of his. She wishes she could be more like him in that way. Ian pivots to her plans. What comes next for her? Kathy explains she is going to find Count Katina. Apparently, he is her maternal uncle and her only real hope. She is convinced that telling him the truth will secure his help. Ian immediately asks if they are actually close. Kathy admits they are not exactly best friends, but still. Ian gets suspicious. He warns her not to trust him blindly. If the guy is not even close to his own sister, is he really going to look out for her daughter? Kathy gets defensive. snapping at him for doubting her uncle. She insists there is nothing on this earth he would not do for her. Ian finally gives in, figuring she might know him better. As soon as he agrees, her mood shifts completely. She starts teasing him again with that playful glint in her eye. She jokes that if a genius mage like him proposed, she would happily say yes and marry him on the spot. He begins having some pretty twisted thoughts about her. To keep their journey to Count Ian on track, he shuts down her ideas, reminding her of one thing. Their agreement ends the very second they reach the Count safely. Kathy pouts, calling him cruel for rejecting a noblewoman willing to marry him, but Ian stays cold. He shrugs it off. There are plenty of other women in this world besides her. Kathy bristles at the jab, fuming as she storms ahead toward the inn. When they finally reach the inn, Ian drops a bag of gold at the front desk. He pays for a room and baths for the night, more than enough for both. The clerk casually asks if the girl wants to use the bath too. But the second Kathy hears it, she panics, blurting out that she is fine not bathing at all. Ian thinks she just hates being clean, maybe even needs a wash after such a long trek. But then the realization hits him, the public baths in this medieval world, completely open air. Kathy clearly isn't comfortable stripping down in front of a bunch of strangers. Sensing her hesitation, Ian tells the clerk he will be the only one using the bath. Kathy lets out a long breath, finally feeling at ease. Bad timing though, 3 shady characters nearby have been watching Kathy this whole time. Ian catches their gaze instantly, his posture shifting into full defensive mode. He tells Kathy to pull her cloak tight. People are staring, and he does the same to stay low. But it is too late. Those strangers have already locked onto her and they aren't looking away. Watch this, the way these men look at her. It is honestly sickening. It is the first time they have seen someone that beautiful, and to them, she looks like a fallen angel. They hate that she is with a skinny, dark-haired kid like Ian. In their twisted minds, he isn't even remotely worthy of being by her side. They trade sly looks, quickly deciding that since Ian and Kathy aren't staying long, they have to move fast. Their intent is vile from the start, and they decide tonight is the only chance to strike. While they plot in the shadows over at the castle, Lord Riverview is talking with Lich. Lich realizes this is a golden opportunity to get on the Lord's good side. Maybe he can even secure a permanent, safe spot right here in the castle. So he starts buttering up the Lord, showering him with endless, practiced praise. For these guys, it's the first time seeing someone so beautiful. Honestly, she looks just like an angel fallen from heaven. What really bugs them is seeing her with a skinny, black-haired kid. In their twisted minds, Ian isn't worthy of standing near her. They trade some nasty looks and quickly come to a conclusion. Since Ian and Kathy aren't staying at the inn for long, they realize they have to move right now to take their shot. Their intentions were rotten from the very start. They decide today is their only chance to make a move while they're busy plotting elsewhere in the castle. The Lord of Riverview is deep in conversation with Lich. During their chat, Lich realizes this is a golden opportunity. Inside the castle, Lord Riverview is locked in tense talks with the Lich. During the exchange, the Lich realizes this is a golden opportunity. He's sucking up to the Lord, desperate for a permanent spot inside the castle. Safe within those walls, that is his only goal. So he lays it on thick, buttering the Lord up with praise. And the Lord, he just eats it up, looking arrogant and completely satisfied. With the moment just right, Nick finally spills the beans. He tells the Lord all about their trip and the mage they met. He's practically buzzing, laying out every detail of their encounter. How that mage managed to tame a dragon, just like that. And how he saved all of them from an absolute disaster. Nick doesn't hold back, painting the whole scene for the Lord. He even drops the location. The mage is staying right at the local inn. The second the Lord hears that, his expression totally shifts. Forget excitement, he looks like he's seen a ghost. Pure terror. He's already imagining the carnage if a mage that dangerous snaps. What if he unleashes that dragon and levels the whole territory? his people would suffer, and the situation is already volatile enough as it is, because there is already another major problem camped out in Riverview, a faction that spells nothing but trouble for the Lord. The Santiago Holy Knights, a group of absolute religious zealots. They live their entire lives dedicated to serving their god. They fight as half-priest, half-warrior, wandering the lands to hunt monsters. Instead of standard warfare, they follow their own twisted code. They claim to be the protectors of humanity, the self-proclaimed righteous. But the Lord, he knows they're just fanatics who bring chaos wherever they go. Just thinking about those knights clashing with a mage, it's enough to make the Lord's blood run cold. A mage on a dragon versus the Santiago Order. It's a nightmare. If those two forces go to war, his quiet town is finished. He has to stop this catastrophe, no matter the cost. Now watch this. He moves fast. He orders his commanders to prep the castle and get everything ready. Then he demands the Santiago Knights come to him immediately. He needs to keep both sides separated before things go sideways. Meanwhile, Ian and Kathy are just trying to enjoy breakfast at the inn. It's a quiet moment, but it won't last long. After they finish, Ian mentions he's heading off to take a bath. He casually tells Kathy to go upstairs once she's done eating. As soon as she's alone, a shady guy spots his chance. He starts tailing her, silent as a shadow, through the inn. He corners her and spins a lie about the dark-haired boy, claiming he was sent to escort her to the docks right now. He makes up some urgent story about why Ian couldn't come, pushing her to leave as fast as she possibly can. Kathy's kind-hearted, and honestly, she's already been on edge. She falls for it, and her mind starts racing with panic. Terrified those bandits might return to snatch her, she panics. She rushes off with that stranger, not suspecting a single thing. But then, she spots Ian calmly taking a bath. Instantly, she knows something is wrong, too late. Someone lunges, throwing a cloak over her face. Ian senses the movement, just as a thug charges him. The guy suddenly loses his footing and faceplants hard, thanks to Ian's quick magic. In a flash, Ian realizes this isn't Lucy's fiance's messy plot. This is something entirely different, and way worse. Kathy is being dragged away right in front of his eyes. Without a second thought, Ian weaves light magic, creating an illusion around himself. He has plenty of secret tricks, but light is just the easiest one to pull off right now. Yet, in that very moment, something bizarre happens. Shadows start slithering toward him, almost alive, practically inviting him to play along with them. When Ian opens his eyes, he realizes the darkness has become his ally. He gathers those shadows in an instant and fires them off. Straight at the kidnappers, darkness erupts from his own eyes. It swallows those men whole, but before he can follow up, he senses more backup closing in fast. He can't believe it, these are just regular criminals. So why do they have such a well-trained force behind them? He fiercely interrogates them, demanding to know where Kathy is. The guy is terrified, swearing he has no idea. Suddenly, Ian feels a cold blade pressed against his back. A voice barks an order for him to move aside, while another person grills him about the shadows and asks if Ian controlled them. In that moment, Ian realizes exactly who just showed up. Standing behind him are the elite warriors of the Santiago Knights. Ian doesn't hesitate to admit he's the mage who summoned the dark. Even while talking, his mind stays locked on the scary old man standing before him, whose bloodlust is absolutely suffocating. The criminal instantly begs the knights to save his life, shamelessly lying that the mage tried to kill him for no reason. Ian just stares, stunned. How can the guy twist the truth so casually like that? The old knight narrows his eyes, sneering that if Ian really is a mage, wanting to kill people is just expected. Ian feels a surge of intense irritation. But the old man keeps talking, doubling down, claiming all mages are the same, full of dangerous intent, and thinking they can do whatever they want with zero consequences. Ian is absolutely livid at those words. Fury begins to boil inside him, but then, before he can even snap back, the old man speaks up with such authority. It makes Ian realize something huge about how this world actually works. Usually, harsh words and overwhelming pressure are seen as signs of true strength. But then, another knight steps up. He claims Ian's power is no excuse. He says no matter how strong Ian is, he shouldn't use dark magic. Ian stops in his tracks. The knight continues to press him hard. He calls using shadows a betrayal of the gods and the light. According to him, hiding in the dark is nothing but a coward's move. Ian thinks for a moment, then clears his throat to speak up. He calmly points out that heaven's laws allow both day and night. If the heavens belong only to the light, why does night even exist? As soon as those words leave his lips, the knights freeze. They look completely lost, their faces changing as they struggle to understand. A strange shift happens. Many of them start feeling drawn to him. They realize this young mage has wisdom far beyond what they expected. Seizing the silence, Ian politely asks for permission to leave right now. His sister has been kidnapped, and he's desperate to save her. Suddenly, the knights realize they were tricked by the real criminal all along. They turn on the liar, their eyes burning with pure, cold fury. The old knight orders someone named DH to watch the prisoner closely. To make up for wasting Ian's time, he offers to help personally. He swears he will ensure the safe rescue of Ian's sister. They race to the docks, where the kidnappers are trying to flee. Kathy is trapped, tied up inside a body bag on their boat. The kidnappers are scrambling to escape before they get caught. The knights see what's happening and they are absolutely livid. Ian notices something vital. The sun is finally starting to set. He knows his magic will be way more effective in the darkness. The old knight asks for a plan, insisting they work together. The other knights are pumped for a fight, but Ian holds them back. He warns them that rushing the boat is way too dangerous right now. The old man won't back down, ready to do anything to save her. Ian points to a large hook nearby. His plan is to pull them in. The knight looks at him, totally confused by the strategy. He asks if Ian really plans to use dark magic for that task. He just can't wrap his head around how that could possibly work. He sees it now. He can use magic way more effectively than this. The old knight urges them to team up to save the innocent girl. The other knights are pumped for a fight, but Ian warns them. Charging straight at that boat, it's a suicide mission. The old man won't budge. He's ready to do whatever it takes. Ian spots a massive hook nearby and comes up with a plan. He's going to use it to drag the boat back to shore. The old knight looks confused and asks if he's using dark magic. He can't wrap his head around how that would even work. Ian casually explains he's studied basics from all sorts of magic schools. He doesn't just stick to one path. He uses a bit of everything. The knight is even more baffled since everyone spends their whole life mastering just one single element, never multiple at the same time. No time to waste. Ian starts chanting in that infamous Moronius language. He calls out to the river itself, demanding it create an obstacle. It's time to force that boat back toward the land. The river reacts instantly to his command. Massive currents begin to churn, swirling with wild, raw power. The boat gets slammed as waves crash over it in pure chaos. Through the madness, Ian finally drags Kathy to safety. The second she's free, she clings to him, totally relieved. Ian realizes if she stays this close, the knight will figure it out. They definitely aren't siblings, so he awkwardly hugs her back. Inside, he's silently groaning. He is absolutely wiped out. His energy levels are hitting rock bottom. All he wants is to crawl back to the inn and soak in a bath. But here's the kicker. He has no idea what's coming. In this world, even a simple, quiet bath is basically impossible. Back at the castle, an urgent letter arrives out of nowhere. Turns out Bernard, the Lord's eldest son, is on the move. He's racing toward Ian's location alongside Hansen, the Riverview Knight. They spot thick smoke rising in the distance. They're certain it's from a battle, and they're terrified. The Lord's worst fears, they might actually be coming true. Knights and mages are already on the way to the chaos. Meanwhile, a frantic, urgent letter suddenly arrives at the castle gates. It turns out Bernard, Lord Riverview's eldest son, is on the move. Along with Hansen, the Riverview Knight, they are racing toward Ian. Both Bernard and Hansen spot thick, dark smoke rising in the distance. They immediately assume the worst. A fierce battle must be raging. Fear grips them, worrying that the Lord's dark predictions are coming true. They dread that the knights and the mage are already doomed. A massive conflict is already tearing through the entire region. Hansen thinks to himself, the whole mess is a massive headache. He has been forced to drag this pampered young master everywhere. And seeing the look on Bernard's face right now, Hansen is certain bringing him here was a terrible mistake. He's exhausted from playing babysitter to such a spoiled kid. But when they finally reach the smoke, the truth hits them. It isn't a battlefield at all. No fight in sight. Instead, knights are actually waiting on Ian for an outdoor bath. It's a ridiculous situation. Even Ian looks completely stressed out. Bernard and Hansen storm onto the scene in total shock. Hansen quickly tells the young master to stay put right there. The moment they realize there is zero danger here, just a bath, they both stand there frozen and bewildered. Everyone stands there frozen. Not a soul can wrap their head around it. Who on earth just casually bathes out in the open like this? Still, Bernard stays suspicious, telling himself there must be a catch. He's convinced something deeper, some hidden agenda, is buried under all this. He starts pacing, darting his eyes around, desperate to find a secret reason behind the entire situation. Suddenly, he loses it, screaming that as the son of Lord Riverview, he has every right to a full explanation for everything going on. He demands someone report the details to him immediately. The guy throws a total temper tantrum while Ian watches. The look on Ian's face just gets more annoyed by the second. Elder, the old knight, calmly tries to step in and explain, but arrogant Bernard cuts him off, snapping at the old man. He didn't ask Elder anything. He wants Ian to answer personally. His disrespect toward Elder is painfully obvious, even from here. Bernard then proudly announces he's the heir to the family estate, before barking an order for Ian to get out and show him respect. Ian immediately realizes something. This behavior sounds exactly like what Kathy told him about before. Apparently, the nobles here have this bizarre, twisted tradition. It's called provoking a mage, a local custom, if you can believe it. They intentionally push mages to the edge to test their power. If a mage swallows the insults, everyone just calls them weak. But if they lash out with real rage, they get recognized as someone with actual, terrifying power. Realizing Bernard is just trying to bait him into a fight, Ian flat out refuses to follow a single one of his demands. Bernard instantly blows a fuse, howling about how Ian dares defy him. Ian just stays calm, telling him he owes nothing to a spoiled brat. Just listen to how ridiculous he sounds, a total disaster. Beyond furious, Bernard orders his knight to grab the mage by the throat, though the knight looks like he'd rather calm the kid down than actually lift a finger to attack someone like Ian. That's the final straw for Ian. He's absolutely done with this. He could handle the childish pouting, but being called a fraud? That's crossing the line. He stands up right out of the bath, releasing both dark and light magic in one terrifying burst. Everything nearby, the buckets and random objects, starts floating, hovering in the air, creating a truly unsettling sight around him. Elder rushes to smooth things over, apologizing for the young master's rudeness. He swears to Ian that they finally grasp just how strong he is. Ian relaxes, just a little bit. He figures this little display was enough to make Bernard back off. Unfortunately, he couldn't have been more wrong. That brat immediately ignites into another storm of pure, blind rage. This isn't just standard anger. For the first time, Ian is genuinely terrified. That spoiled noble isn't messing around. He might actually try to execute him. Ian has no choice now but to play along. He needs to cooperate. The next day, he visits the castle, where Lord Riverview insists on tea. The Lord apologizes personally for his son's twisted behavior and all the trouble. Ian plays it cool, politely insisting that he's the one who should apologize. He claims he might have overstepped his bounds. Then, the Lord probes further. He asks if Ian's companion is with him today, but Ian has a backup plan. He explains she's busy with other matters, safely tucked away at the inn. In truth, Kathy is under guard by the knights, kept out of harm's way. The conversation shifts fast, straight to Ian's background and his mysterious master. Lord Riverview looks sharp, waiting for the name. Ian finally gives it up. His master is Alorad, and the moment the name drops, the Lord reacts. Lord Riverview knows exactly who that is. The recognition is instant. He explains that Alorad is one of the brightest rising stars at the Academy. His curiosity is piqued. Has his master ever mentioned the South? That's where the Magic Academy is based. Ian keeps his guard up. Their talk drifts into heavy territory, the murky world of politics. The Lord asks if Ian has plans to head toward the Ponga Duchy, or perhaps the Roseland Duchy. Ian is caught off guard. He admits he has no clue where those places even are. The Lord explains, revealing that tensions between them are hitting a breaking point. It's dangerous out there right now. Things are spiraling fast. It's clear the Ponga Duchy has Zeppelin in its sights. Ian realizes the terrifying truth in a heartbeat. War, it's looming, and it's likely to break out between these nations soon. The Lord asks again if Ian is headed south. Ian holds his ground, explaining he's actually traveling toward the east. He's chasing a specific mystery. Watching him, the Lord decides on a gesture. He wants to give Ian a gift. Ian is totally thrown off. A heavy chest appears right in front of him. The Lord nods. Ian opens it, and his eyes lock onto what's hidden inside. A staff. The Lord explains it belonged to a legendary wine mage. It's called Winget. Ian reaches out, touching the cold surface. He picks it up and feels it immediately. It's a perfect fit. It looks like an ordinary staff, plain and simple on the outside. But the second he grips it, the difference is night and day. It's an incredible feeling, like he's finally holding his true weapon. The perfect treasure for a real mage. He can hardly believe it. He really values this gift. The Lord is firm about his reasons. Consider it an apology for his son's wild, inexcusable behavior. Ian gives a sincere thanks and accepts the gift with genuine joy. But the moment he heads back, the atmosphere shifts completely. A desperate, frantic scream tears through the air. Someone is calling his name. Ian goes cold. His guard is up. It's Kathy, and she's terrified. Hot Lal rushes toward Ian, breathless, warning him something terrible has happened. She reveals a black crow she managed to snatch away just in time. Seeing it is just a simple bird, Ian finally lets out a long breath. Kathy smiles with relief too, as the elder steps in to explain. A hunter caught the bird early this morning, planning to cook it up. But Kathy stopped him right in his tracks, rescuing the creature from the pot. When Ian realizes how serious Kathy is, he actually pauses to listen. She explains that the bird reminds her of Ian with that same black hair. She feels like fate brought this crow to them for a reason. There is no way she is letting anyone turn this bird into a meal. Kathy beams with excitement, completely invested in the crow's safety. Ian sighs, apologizing to the elder for the trouble she is causing. Then he shrugs and tells them to just go ahead and cook it. It is just a bird. After all, a meal is a meal. That hits Kathy hard. She looks like she is about to completely collapse. She cannot believe Ian could be that cold to such a fragile creature. While Ian tries to calm her down, the knights look pretty happy. They were already thinking about an easy lunch from that bird. But then, out of nowhere, Ian hears a voice begging for help. He snaps at the knights, ordering everyone to stop moving right now. He carefully lifts the crow, realizing this isn't just some animal. The creature is desperate. Its mind screaming for someone to save it. Ian starts talking back, quickly realizing something strange is happening. The crow doesn't understand his words, but he can hear its thoughts perfectly. It seems the usual language magic isn't working quite right here. Perhaps the bird lacks enough mystery for the spell to bridge the gap. He tries to focus his power, but the crow keeps panicking. It just keeps repeating the same desperate plea over and over again. Ian finally snaps, shouting at the bird to just shut up already. He is saving it, isn't he? He does not need to hear that plea. 100 times is more than enough. He gets the point. The crow falls silent instantly, sensing the shift in the air. Ian thinks to himself, even if the bird doesn't grasp his language, it definitely knows how to read the room and stay quiet. The knights stare at him, eyes wide in absolute disbelief. This mage is standing there, casually chatting with a bird like it's a person. Ian explains that the crow is begging for help, and Kathy lights up. She is practically glowing with joy, knowing her bird is safe now. She laughs, saying she knew from the very start it was special. The elder notes that she seems to have a knack for sensing these mysteries. Being compared to Ian makes Kathy even happier, her mood soaring high. Now watch this. Ian begins to carefully heal the crow's broken wing. Kathy watches him work, excitedly remarking how fast it will recover now. Then she asks the big question, what are they going to do next? Leaving the bird behind with those hunters is clearly not an option. If he leaves it here, it will get eaten. Then saving it means nothing. Ian ponders this for a moment while staring deep into the raven's eyes. The raven pleads again, begging Ian not to abandon it to its fate. It fears the people around here are truly dangerous, even though Ian finds this creature incredibly annoying. He sighs and finally settles it onto his shoulder. Kathy immediately asks if they are actually going to bring it along with them. Ian answers yes, at least until the wing heals up completely. Kathy lights up with excitement, insisting they have to give it a proper name. She starts rattling off a few suggestions for the bird. Ian doesn't like any of them. Finally, he decides on the name Oberon. Kathy loves it instantly, and from that moment on, the raven is called Oberon. The bird proudly declares that they now have the honor of serving it. Ian immediately thinks this raven has already become far too arrogant for its own good. Kathy suggests they should keep traveling with the knights for extra safety. She realizes that sticking with them is much better than wandering alone. Ian carefully considers her point and finds she is actually making sense. Common bandits would never dare to attack a group protected by Santiago Knights. Still, he wonders if it helps if the knights aren't going their way. Before he can think it over, Alder approaches and asks why they look worried. He sits down beside them and explains that despite Ian's magical talent, traveling alone with a woman in these lands is still extremely dangerous. Because of that, he proposes a deal involving a monster that recently appeared. It has been sighted deep within the territory of Count Katina. Elder explains that while traveling there, the knights plan to hunt a creature. It is a beast known as a manticore, a brutal monster notorious for slaughtering humans just for the fun of it. Surprisingly, Ian already knows the name and asks if Elder really expects help. Does he truly want Ian to face something as dangerous as that? Elder quickly clarifies that they would never force him into such a battle. They would not drag him into danger against his will. That is not their way. But listen, if Ian volunteers, they certainly are not going to stop him. Ian immediately refuses, having no intention of risking his life for a monster. However, Elder quickly stops him, clarifying the real reason they need him. It has absolutely nothing to do with fighting. It is something else entirely. Elder explains that when the knights announced their plan to hunt the manticore, a priest from Count Katina's territory nearly forced a local mage to cooperate. Naturally, that mage felt deeply insulted by such a heavy-handed, rude demand. And now the knights want Ian to step in and reconcile the whole mess. Since Ian is also a mage, Elder thinks he is the perfect man for the job. Then someone explains the situation is actually something else entirely. The knights wanted to hunt a manticore, so they forced a priest. A priest from Count Katina's territory was pressured into helping them. Naturally, that local mage felt deeply insulted by their arrogance. And now the knights want Ian to step in and fix it. Since Ian is also an elder mage, he's their only hope. Trust me, your word carries way more weight than any knight here. Ian weighs the offer honestly. It's not a bad deal at all. All he has to do is calm down one angry mage. In exchange, they get full protection and an escort from the entire order. That kind of backup, it's incredibly useful for both him and Kathy. He finally says yes, and just like that, they're back on the road. Ian quickly realizes traveling with the Santiago Knights is surprisingly relaxed. These guys are disciplined, professional, totally different from the usual chaos. Honestly, compared to what he's used to, this trip is almost stress-free. Though there is one major complaint. They won't stop pestering them. Every single knight is constantly trying to convert both him and Kathy. At first, it was fine, just talk, but then the sermons started. Non-stop, repetitive preaching. It's getting old, and honestly, it's really annoying him. Ian isn't about to just dump his beliefs because someone keeps nagging. Later that night, Elder sits quietly by him and says it's a pity. Ian hits him with the immediate question, "What exactly do you mean?" Elder explains if Ian could just hear the voice of God himself, he could probably become a high priest for the Knight Order. Think of priests as the church's own mages, holding the faith's deepest mysteries. Wait for it, this is the moment that changes everything for him. If he could talk to God, maybe he'd get answers about his status board. And maybe, just maybe, find out why he was reborn in this world. Curious, he walks over to Elder and asks to study their holy book. Elder patiently teaches Ian how to read the passages, even praising his openness. But suddenly, Ian loses all interest. His expression shifts completely, totally blank. Elder notices, immediately asking if something is wrong. Ian says Elder just complimented him a second ago. But Elder is panicking, swearing on his life he never said a word. Ian is confused. He heard it clear as day, a direct voice. That's when it hits him, that voice. It didn't sound human at all. Then another strange whisper snakes right into his ear. It's calm, suggesting the speaker might not even be a living person. Ian is spiraling now, totally lost, trying to process what's actually happening. He realizes the voice echoing in his head might be the one who brought him to this world in the first place. He snaps, screaming out, demanding real answers right here and now. He starts cornering the so-called creator, firing off every question he has. Why the status board? Why dump him here right after he graduated? The rage is building up, and he isn't letting this entity off the hook. Meanwhile, Ian hears a strange voice echoing inside his head. He suspects this voice is the one who brought him here. Ian snaps. He starts shouting, demanding immediate answers right now. He interrogates this supposed creator with a barrage of questions. Why the status window? Why throw him into this world? He just finished school. This is all completely unfair. A sudden gust of wind sweeps through, and just like that, the mysterious creator vanishes. She leaves without a single word of response. Our guy loses it. He starts snapping, demanding she come back and face him. Meanwhile, the Santiago Knights struggled to hold him back. They're practically begging him to just calm down for a second. Then, a thought hits Ian. He scrambles to flip through the holy book, desperate for a second chance to reach her. As he keeps reading, something shifts. A status window pops up out of nowhere with a notification. He's just unlocked a brand new skill, Holy Art. The description says it lets him communicate directly with the creator of this world. Right after, more notifications flood in, telling him to show more enthusiasm. Apparently, that is the only way to keep the creator pleased. Seeing all this, Ian starts to wonder, is the owner of that voice really the one who dragged him into this world? And is she the one who granted him these powers in the first place? The more he thinks about it, the more he feels like a puppet, just a pawn being played for laughs. He wants to push things and confront her head-on, but his holy art level is way too low. He can't even start a real conversation yet. Finally, he has to give up for now. He decides he'll have to dig into more mysteries and level up his skill first. A few days pass on their journey. Suddenly, a group of bandits tries to ambush the carriage. The knights handle the amateurs easily without breaking a sweat. They check on Ian, asking if he is all right. Ian says he is fine and turns to check on the old man. After all, the old guy was the one actually doing the fighting. The old man just laughs it off. He says even if he is an old geezer now, he isn't losing to some petty thieves. Ian takes the chance to ask about his past. He brings up rumors that the old man used to be a mercenary. The old man admits it. He says that even if he looks like a nobody, he used to be a real legend. He explains why he goes by the name Elder now. Whenever people heard his real name, they would just come to pick a fight. They only wanted the fame of beating a legend. Hearing that, Ian wonders if the old man really was that famous. After the bandits are dealt with, a knight reports back. He says the road ahead splits in two. The eastern path leads to the Count's castle. The western road heads toward Manticore territory. The old man turns to Ian. He says the mage he mentioned before lives somewhere around here. You can tell this is where the search for that hidden mage finally begins. Getting close to the Manticore zone, they point toward the target area. Hold up, Ian tells the group. He pulls Kathy aside for a moment. He suggests they track down a local mage before facing the Count. Lucy immediately shuts him down, insisting she take the lead alone. Ian's clearly worried, asking if she's really going to be all right. She just smiles, she's no child, and she sounds totally confident. The eastern path, she says, will take her straight to her uncle. With a quick wave, she's off, disappearing without a second of hesitation. Seeing her just walk away like that has Ian on edge, heart pounding. He can't shake the feeling something might go wrong out there alone. He decides to finish this magic business fast so he can catch up. The old man spots his anxiety and asks why his sister left solo. Ian just says he'll reach her soon, steering the talk back around. Focus on the mage, he urges, changing the subject in a flash. The old man leans in close, dropping his voice to sound serious. Are you really prepared for what we are about to face? He asks. He starts laying it on thick, warning how dangerous mages can be. Especially this one, who's currently fuming over demands from the church. Ian wonders why knights are the ones cleaning up the church's mess. The old man just shrugs. They get paid a massive fortune for it. That explains the flashy, expensive armor every single knight is sporting here. He lets out a small sigh, trying to calm the kid down now. Maybe since Ian is a mage too, this person will cool off. Ian starts wondering what she's like. He's never met another mage before. Aside from his master, his experience with magic users is zero. Back at the camp, the mage Money Campbell looks like a grumpy witch. She stands there, stirring a bubbling pot of what looks like soup. Flashback time when the church first approached her about the Manticore. They were incredibly rude, practically demanding she use her spells for them. Just be grateful the woods are under our control, they barked. That arrogance pushed Mani over the edge, and she snapped back fast. Want my help? She asked. Then you have to try my cooking. She used a vile, rotting stench from her pot to drive them away. And it worked perfectly. They turned tail and ran in terror. Back in the present, the knights and Ian reach the witch's home. The old man introduces her as Money Campbell, a famous nature mage. Now watch this. Here is where the real danger shows itself. She can control plant life at will and whip up deadly poisons. That is the real reason they are here. They need her toxins. They need that poison to take down the beast, the Manticore itself. Just then, a stomach-churning stench hits the air, hitting the knights hard. His rage builds up, along with his power to extract lethal toxins. The old man adds that they're really here for one reason. They need her poison to hunt down that deadly Manticore. Just then, a disgusting smell fills the air, shocking the knights. They scramble to cover their noses in total disgust as Maddie appears. She gives a laugh, elegant, but somehow deeply unsettling. She claims she's been waiting ages, happy to see them return. And she's eager for them to finally try her special soup. It's garlic chicken, though it reeks and looks plain lethal. The knights shield their noses, gripping the foul-smelling bowls in hesitation. The old man tries to explain, shaking his head in protest. They aren't here for some kind of weird taste test challenge. But Maddie cuts him off, boasting about her rare ingredients. The finest stuff, she insists, all harvested by her own hands. She tells them to leave if they can't appreciate her kindness. After all, it is supposed to be a warm, welcoming meal. While the knights struggle to keep it down, even starting to gag, Ian just sits there, calmly gulping down the soup bowl by bowl. He handles it without a flicker of hesitation, just sheer focus. He actually loves the taste, unable to stop himself from eating. Even the witch starts looking worried at his relentless pace. He's devouring what looks like poison without slowing down at all. When Ian tells her it's honestly delicious, she's completely floored. Maddie can hardly believe her ears. She's genuinely taken aback. Ian keeps raving about the massive amount of garlic she used. He just keeps eating, completely unfazed by the rest of them. Maddie and the knights look on, feeling more uneasy by the second. She rushes over, insisting that he's really had enough for now. She admits, in 40 years of witchcraft, she's never seen this, never met anyone quite as bizarre as him in her life. She asks his name, and the second he speaks, she freezes. Maddie scrambles to confirm if he's truly the apprentice of Red. She immediately apologizes for her earlier behavior, looking pretty rattled. Desperate to save face, she starts scrambling to fix things. She quickly whips up a proper, decent feast for the group. Ian prefers the soup, but plays along to keep the peace. No need to make a scene. He just goes with it. Maddie turns serious, asking if they're really hunting that Manticore. She warns them it's a suicide mission, plain and simple. That winged beast already wiped out Count Karina's previous hunting party. The old man replies he's more than ready for the challenge. Maddie watches his confidence, brow furrowed with genuine concern. She asks if he's ever even managed to take one down. The old man nods, looking back at his distant past. A long time ago, back when he was still young. Maddie turns to Ian, wondering if he's faced one alone. She's hoping he's the real deal since Red trained him. She keeps pushing, asking him to back the knights up. Ian listens, and then he finally steps up to help. Our guy drifts into deep thought, recalling what his master taught him. A mage should always step in when trouble hits someone else, right? Even if it goes against his own gut, he has to consider it. Take it seriously. That is what the old men always preached. Still, Ian honestly sees no real reason to hunt a deadly winged lion. But then the thought of refusing, of rumors flying through the Mages Guild, that starts to weigh on him. He can't just walk away from this. The guild is a tight organization, built to keep magic usage in check. And Ian, he really does not want to tarnish his reputation there. Plus, he worries that saying no might actually anger his master. Or worse, make other mages refuse to help him when he's desperate. Feeling like he has no other choice, Ian finally agrees to join them. The next day, he heads out with Mani and the knights toward the forest. He's distracted, hoping Kathy will be alright while he is away. Just then, Oberon, his pet raven, returns, signaling it found the target. The bird points out the exact direction. The winged lion is close. When Ian reports this to the Lord, the guy is genuinely impressed. He loves how Ian uses his birds for scouting missions like this. During the journey, Ian had been training Oberon to understand human speech. Now, he can actually communicate with the bird directly, pretty handy. As they close in, Santiago, the night captain, senses a strange pressure. The air turns heavy, and the guy gets on high alert immediately. Ian wonders if the Lord could just try reasoning with the beast. But Mani is quick to shut that down. Monsters do not listen. She is actually freaked out, asking if Ian knows anything about summoning. She even threatens to report him to his master if he tries anything reckless. Ian just sighs. Could he get a little credit for trying here? Suddenly, a knight points ahead. They have finally found the monster. Everyone freezes. Like statues, no one dares to even breathe. Ian warns them to stay still and huddle close to him right now. At that moment, the commander approaches the Lord with the poisoned weapons. He hands over arrows coated in something truly lethal. The captain orders his men to fire, and a volley of arrows streaks out. Ian watches the whole situation unfold without saying a single word. Just as the poisoned arrows hit, the hero becomes incredibly alert. You won't believe this, the shafts just bounce right off the beast's skin. Not even a tiny scratch. The hide is thick as steel. Ian quickly shares this bad news with the Lord, who is already panicking. The commander is losing it too, asking what the next move should be. Everything happens in total silence. No one says a single word. When poison-tipped arrows fly forward, our hero immediately goes on guard. Those arrows bounce right off the beast's thick, armored skin. They don't even leave a tiny scratch on the monster. Ian quickly shares this terrifying info with the desperate old man. As Ian asks what to do next, the creature moves fast, preparing to order another strike. The guy wears a wicked, twisted grin. The roar echoes across the area, and finally, the monster reveals itself. Poor Oberon looks ready to collapse from sheer terror, finally realizing the truth. The beast is right in front of them now, no time left for poison arrows. Out of options, Ian looks up to the sky, ready to change the game. He lets out a powerful roar in the Moronis tongue, shaking the air. Silence falls over everyone, while Mani finally realizes the kid pulled it off. Even the Mantico stops moving, the two stand there, locked in a tense stare-down. The beast seems intrigued that a human can speak its ancient, forbidden language. It tells Ian he is nothing like the others, a different breed entirely. Forcing himself to stay calm, Arga keeps his tone polite and introduces himself. But the monster cuts him off immediately, telling him to shut up and drown. Getting the disrespect, Ian tosses his polite facade straight into the trash. He snaps back, asking the creature what kind of freakish monstrosity it even is. The Mantico seems satisfied by the sudden shift, laughing that this is better. It tells the human to stay blunt if he wants answers, matching its dark tone. Ian hits back hard. He wants the monster's head, nothing more, nothing less. That answer makes the creature roar with laughter, admitting it actually likes the kid. Then it drops a twisted deal for the mage to join forces, tear the filthy humans apart. Ian is visibly shocked by the insanity of that offer. The Mantico keeps rambling about how it will savor the taste of human flesh. It promises Ian all the women he wants, right before it devours them too. The beast starts getting hyped up on the thought of the coming carnage, but our guy cuts it off with a sharp, heavy sigh of pure disappointment. He spits on the ground, telling the creature that idea is just too sickening. Ian and Oberon both flip the bird, letting out a string of insults. The HX tries to speak up through the tension, but gets cut off fast. The Mantico readies itself for battle, pointing its claws forward like a spear. Now it declares that Ian is a human worthy of being killed by its own hand. Our hero is even more stunned when the beast starts speaking fluent Chinese. He stands frozen in shock, while Mani reacts by slamming her foot into the earth. Magic flares, and massive vines erupt, forming a wall between them and the beast. Yet the old man stays frantic, screaming at Mani for what she just did. She looks confused, arguing she just trapped the monster exactly where they needed. But the old man snaps back. His own people are trapped in there too. It lunges like a spear, declaring Ian a worthy kill. Our hero is even more shocked that the beast can actually talk. He stands there, completely stunned by its human-like speech. Mani reacts instantly to the danger closing in on them. She stomps the ground, casting a spell to wake the earth. Massive vines erupt upward, quickly forming a thick, sturdy barrier. A living wall blocking the monster away from them. But the old man isn't calm. He starts scolding Money. She's left confused, insisting she just trapped the beast. But the old man warns that his own people are trapped in there too. She freezes for a heartbeat, then snaps back that the knights are not useless and will handle this on their own. But suddenly, the old man stops dead when he hears a scream from behind the wall. Worried for his men, he rushes off while the two others call after him but eventually follow. When they catch up, he immediately asks if everyone is still alive. The air turns heavy and tense. A knight reports they survived, but DHX is critically injured lying there. In agony, the loyal knight apologizes for letting the monster escape, but team leader Santiago cuts him off and hugs him tight. Ian feels like he is cracking under the pressure gripping his fists. Since being reborn, he never imagined he would have to watch someone die right in front of him, especially someone like DHX. Memories of his past life flood his mind as he struggles to accept just how real everything here feels. He finally understands that in this world, monsters and war are just the way of life. Deaths he only ever read about in stories are now playing out before him. He cannot just stand by and do nothing. He adjusts his cloak and walks over to the fallen comrade kneeling down beside him. He asks if DHX remembers the lessons learned from the scriptures, that if a person has true faith and sincere devotion, the heavens will provide a way. Those words make the knight tear up and nod in response. Ian then says they should pray together as a blue light begins to spread around them. In his mind, he pleads with the divine, wondering their loyal follower is dying in despair right before his eyes, and they are not going to do anything about it. A voice echoes back saying his petition has been heard and offering aid. Because Ian made his request so politely, the whole area floods with a blue glow, temporarily blinding everyone. The old man starts to call out to him but goes silent before he can finish his sentence. Meanwhile, our hero lets go of his comrade and stares at his own hands, unsure of what is actually happening. The scene then shifts to a glowing ethereal space where a voice calls out to Daichik and tells him to wake up. A woman in a white dress reaches out to him, leaving him completely stunned. The man realizes this must be the creator he has been praying to all this time. As she steps down and stands before him, she says she is happy to see him here. Daichik bows, immediately feeling completely overwhelmed by what is unfolding. The saint tells him that his mission in this life is not over yet. He looks confused and repeats her words, trying to grasp their meaning. However, the saint reaches out and tells him to spread her message even further and help those who are struggling. Most importantly, she tells the loyal knight that he must protect her apostle at all costs. Ian, just like that, he snaps awake back in the real world. Hearing the leader call his name, he sits up, dazed, asking what happened. Our young hero steps forward, looking at him, and asks, "How does it feel to be reborn, Sir Knight?" The knight instantly bursts into tears, grabbing both of Ian's hands. He claims our hero saved him, certain the creator commanded it. Our hero offers a sheepish, awkward smile, remembering he only used holy magic because the saintess allowed it. He asks why the knight thinks that. The knight explains the saintess told him Ian still has work to do. Recalling the words of the divine, the knight shouts in excitement. He starts calling Ian a saint. The other knights whisper that he must have hit his head. They agree to keep a close eye on him for a while. Watching the scene, Money remarks how cheerful they seem, considering they were almost dead just a few minutes ago. Seeing his subordinate back on his feet, the old man asks, are they ready to face the Manticore one more time? Our hero sends Oberon to scout the area ahead for intel. The knight leader gets worried, fearing something bad might happen. But Ian brushes his concerns aside, leaving him totally bewildered. The main character tells the team, the Manticore is no low-level monster. They need to be fully prepared before they even think of engaging. Now watch this. The camera shifts to the Manticore. It is busy attacking a nearby town, chasing people through the streets. A young guy is leading his father away from the monster, but the old man suddenly trips and falls to the ground. The son screams out, but it is too late. The manticore lunges in to finish them off. Before the beast can bite down, the young guy grabs a pitchfork. He raises his weapon, even though his whole body is trembling. The manticore realizes the old man is the boy's father. It makes a cruel offer. Kill your father with your own hands, or everyone else dies. The boy refuses, telling the monster to just die. The manticore doesn't care about his answer at all. It raises a claw high, ready to tear them apart. The father and son hug, ready to accept their death. But right then, an arrow flies in, piercing the beast's eye. Captain Santiago charges, parrying the monster's strike. As the manticore screams in pain, the pair can finally breathe. The old knight shouts for the soldiers to get ready. The soldiers advance while the manticore glares and roars, telling them they are walking straight to their own deaths. But Ian calls out. Ian mocks the beast, calling it an amateur at the art of fighting. He taunts the manticore, declaring it's just delaying the inevitable defeat. The monster roars for him to shut his mouth, but Ian just keeps pushing, asking if that's the bark of a loser. The provocation works perfectly as the beast lunges straight toward him. It charges at full speed, but in that final second, Ian smiles. Mani steps forward, raising her staff high into the air. She triggers a growth spell, vines instantly binding the monster tight. The old man signals his soldiers to make their move immediately. They hurl clay jars at the trapped, struggling manticore. The beast goes berserk as that strange liquid drenches its hide. Now Mondi tells Ian it's time for him to shine. Our boy steps up and snaps his fingers with total confidence. Fire magic ignites the air instantly. The monster realizes the liquid was oil, but it's far too late. It's swallowed by a sea of flames in a single heartbeat. The screams fade away while Ian stands there without blinking. He mocks the enemy until nothing remains but piles of ash. Once it's over, the villagers rush up to thank the knights. The knights calmly claim they were just doing their duty. Ian watches from behind, throwing a cold glare at Captain Santiago. He watches the old man soaking up all that undeserved praise. Oberon looks at him with innocent eyes and asks a biting question. Why does its great master not get the respect he deserves? Ian tells the annoying fluffball to quiet down. He wonders if roasting a monster alive terrified the villagers instead. But then, a young man and his grandfather approach them. They thank Ian for saving their lives, and he freezes. He's caught off guard, never expecting anyone to actually thank him. The old man smiles brightly, noticing Ian's genuine confusion. Suddenly, the captain bows low, thanking the powerful mage for saving them. Ian fumbles, saying he just followed Mani's lead, no need to bow. That answer shocks the captain, who didn't expect such humility. In his experience, kids like Ian usually grow arrogant with power. He thinks Ian acts more noble than actual high-ranking aristocrats. Just then, a group of guards approaches the knights. They ask if these are the heroes who took down the beast. Instead of answering, Santiago demands they state their names first. The soldiers apologize, explaining they are guards from the Count's castle. Ian looks surprised when they invite the duo to come along. He steps toward the knights and asks if they were the ones who killed the beast. Instead of answering, the captain of the knights, Santiago, demands that these fools state their names before his soldiers. They apologize and explain they are guards from the Count's castle. Our boy is surprised when they invite both of them to follow. Straight to the Earl's estate, the noble mansion awaits them. The knights get a grand welcome, a feast fit for heroes. Lucy's drunken uncle is loud, singing praises for their glorious victory. He toasts their chivalry, celebrating how they stood tall without fear. Taking down such a wicked, dangerous beast, it's no small feat. The old man smirks, acting like it's just business as usual. For warriors of their rank, he claims it's really nothing special. His words clearly sting, making the Earl feel a bit jealous. He wishes his own guards were half as capable as these legends, ignoring the fact his own sentries are standing right there, listening in. Next, he shifts to sucking up to the sorceress, promising her support. He swears he'll do anything to keep monks away from her woods. Then, his expression turns serious as he pivots to talk to Ian. He mentions hearing quite a lot about the boy from his niece. The man pauses, glancing over at the kid during his feast. Ian is busy stuffing his face, eyes locked on the meat and the bread. He's so focused he doesn't even notice the Earl. Only when his friend nudges him does he realize he's being addressed. Ian shoots a cold glare at the guy who just ruined his meal. He grips his bread tight, clearly annoyed by the massive interruption. He offers a dry apology for drifting off, blaming the amazing food. The Earl just pretends to ignore the kid's rude, dismissive attitude. Instead, he keeps playing the part, praising Ian for protecting Lucy. To pay him back, he signals the butler to bring a chest. Inside lies a magic scroll, glowing with a bright, intense light. They say these scrolls are packed with incredibly powerful ancient spells. Just tear the paper, and all that stored magic is released instantly. Seeing something this rare right in front of him, it's wild. Our main character is totally stunned, staring at the prize. He takes the high-quality scroll, looking it over with real care. He studies the ancient characters etched across the fragile, glowing surface. The Earl smirks, asking if this special gift meets his expectations. Ian shows his gratitude, but the Earl waves it off casually. He insists it's a fair reward for a true, heroic deed. After all, Ian brought his little Lucy home perfectly safe and sound. With a snap of his fingers, the banquet doors swing wide open. Lucy walks in, dressed to the nines in a stunning, elegant gown. But wait, she's wearing this absurdly long, ridiculous wizard hat. It's half her height, and Ian almost chokes on his own spit. He's holding back a laugh, watching her sit down beside them. Now watch this. He's dying to know where she found that thing. Lucy catches her savior's gaze, shyly asking how he's been lately. You can feel the tension as they stare at each other. Even the night captain notices, deciding to tease them both for it. He reminds Ian about that big sister remark, "Look at him." It seems like she views him as someone even more special than that. Getting straight to the point, the Count makes a bold offer. He wants our mage, Ian, to escort Lucy on a mission to hunt down the scum who hurt her. The Count firmly demands Ian joins his forces to ensure success. Our boy quickly realizes that the magic scroll he received wasn't exactly a free reward for his hard work. It was clearly bait, a way to pressure him into accepting. Even so, Mage's role is just standing back, chanting spells. It's not too dangerous, so he doesn't fully push back. Besides, if everything goes smoothly, he could earn a nice payout from Lucy and the Count himself. With a humble attitude, he agrees if they trust a lowly mage like him to help out, he'll gladly join them. 3 days later, everyone including Lucy gathers outside the Count's estate. Lucy explains that the Count is busy with preparations right now, but he'll host a grand celebration once they all return. Captain Santiago just smiles and says he's looking forward to it. Meanwhile, our boy feels annoyed that the team lost a few skilled members, all because the Count shamelessly used treasures to buy them off. Right then, the old man suddenly thanks him for sticking by his side all this time. He promises there's a surprise waiting when he visits Chifa Island. Seeing Ian confused by the strange name, the captain explains it's a floating island on the Coral Sea, and the locals will treat him like royalty if he just mentions the name San Valdo. Stunned, Ian asks if that's actually his name. Realizing it's time to finally come clean, the old man calmly admits that yes, he is San Valdo from the Orcus clan. While Ian doesn't quite grasp the weight of that name yet, Lucy immediately recognizes the legend of the White Wolf Squad. The old man laughs humbly, clearly amused by his old title. But wait, see how Ian just stands there totally lost. Lucy has to explain to the clueless guy that he's standing in front of the Emperor's former mercenary captain, the White Wolf Squad leader, whose sword skills were so sharp. Rumor has it the Emperor personally named him Sword Saint. That means they're standing right in front of a living legend. However, Oberon and Ian honestly couldn't care less. They just stare blankly as if it's no big deal at all. Shocked by their reaction, Lucy praises the old man endlessly. She wonders why they aren't losing their minds or jumping for joy just to be breathing the same air as him, but instead, he wonders why he is not losing his mind with excitement just from breathing the same air as such a high-status character. Instead, Senvaldo isn't really surprised by Ian's dry reaction. He sort of expected it. Still, he clearly loves soaking in the crowd going wild over his true identity. And just like that, the Sword Saint and the little witch prepare to depart. One of the knights grabs our boy's hand, clearly moved. He's choked up, wondering if they will ever cross paths again. Before they head out, Senvaldo shakes Ian's hand with a promise. He vows to meet him again on the floating island. The old man wishes him a safe journey until that day finally comes. A bit later, the Count steps up to the podium to address his troops. Every step feels heavy, weighed down by memories of his niece's plea. She begged him for vengeance for her mother, and the thought won't leave him. He never imagined Grimm would dare to target Lucy after what he did. But this gives him a chance. Use her as a political shield. His territory will be safer, and his grip on the Baron's land will tighten. With that devious thought, the sly fox decides to talk to her in private. Once things settle down, the Count delivers a heavy, stirring speech. He fires up the soldiers to finally end the crimes Grimm has committed. That night, the knights set up camp, but some are just plain confused. Lucy especially wonders if Ian hit his head somewhere along the road. Instead of cooking, the guy is just sitting there boiling his own spoon. The young lady tries not to judge, wondering if he is from some backwater village where a spoon is actually considered some sort of rare delicacy. Meanwhile, some knights are already whispering rumors from a distance. They say the Archmage is just a nut job who loves eating spoons. Annoyed, our guy tells Lucy he's just trying to sterilize the thing. That big technical term flies right over her little bird brain. He gives up, saying it's way too complicated for her to grasp anyway. That only makes the knights more curious, imagining some secret, tasty dish. Finally, they push him over the edge by asking to add meat to his soup. After dinner, Lucy admits she has been stuck on something for a while. She seems hesitant, but when Ian asks what she means, she brings it up. She reminds him about the reward she promised him earlier. Now watch this. The poor lady is completely stuck on what to gift him. She says he must be sick of just getting handed bags of gold. Our broke main character is speechless, but he lets her keep going. She talks about a reward she thinks a guy like him actually deserves. She starts telling him this legend about how fairies once bestowed a gift. Still hesitates. When he asks what she means, she reminds him of the reward she promised earlier. The young lady looks totally stumped as she tries to decide what gift to give him. She says he must be sick and tired of always getting paid in gold. The poor guy is left completely speechless, but he lets her keep talking about a reward that she believes is truly worth someone like him. She shares a legend about how fairies once bestowed a gift. The first Barantarian got a magic sword from a fairy, or so the legend goes. Apparently, she fell for him hard after he saved her entire kingdom. Lucy is totally mesmerized by this family history, hanging on every word. Ian, though, he isn't buying this cheap romance story for a single second. He hits her with the obvious question: why would the Tyrion family never rise above the rank of Baron if they owned a legendary weapon? That single question completely shatters her little fantasy, leaving her scrambling. Confused, she admits this all happened hundreds of years ago anyway. Then she adds that there is just one tiny, microscopic problem left. The sword is buried deep inside the first Baron's tomb, out of reach. Which means, in plain English, they have to become grave robbers to get it. Our guy just stares at her, stunned, watching this girl lose her mind. She is casually asking a total stranger to help her rob her own ancestor. Even then, he asks if she is really sure about giving away a priceless heirloom. Her family could use that thing to finally build some real influence. He tries to reason with her, suggesting there are better ways to use it. But Lucy just pouts, this grumpy heiress explaining her logic to him. She says he gave her a second chance to fight for what is hers. Her hands shake as she tells him his actions changed her whole life. In her eyes, he deserves a reward that actually matches that effort. She jumps up, frustrated and embarrassed that he keeps brushing her off. She puts so much heart into this gift, and he acts like it is nothing. Calling him a total idiot, she storms off toward her tent in a rage. Ian, the guy with the emotional intelligence of a rock, finally realizes maybe he should have handled that with a little more finesse. Suddenly, a red-headed knight calls out, asking for a moment of his time. Nearby, a farmer is shouting at some knights, threatening to kill them. If they dare steal from him, he swears he will make them pay. Those arrogant thugs just laugh, mocking him and demanding his chickens. One of them even pokes the farmer in the chest, acting all tough. He claims soldiers marching to war need food to fill their bellies. But that arrogance vanishes the second he spots a crow on a branch. Now watch this. The moment reality hits them like a truck. He realizes that bird is the pet of the great Archmage himself. Oberon appears out of nowhere, warning them that his master is arriving. While those three idiots are still gaping at the talking bird, our guy, Mr. Zhao, hands over a few chickens, but one guy digs a finger right into his chest. He loudly claims that knights on the march, they can't possibly survive without enough food to fill their bellies. But all that arrogance vanishes in an instant the moment he spots a raven landing on a nearby branch, and he realizes immediately that this bird is actually the Grand Mage's familiar. Out of nowhere, Oberon starts warning them all that their master is coming, while the three idiots are still gaping in total shock because, get this, the raven can actually talk. He greets them from behind, casual as you like. The trio freezes, slowly turning around. Their faces go stiff. They know, in an instant, they are completely finished here. Our guy just looks at them, cold, asking what the hell they think they are doing. You see, he had a secret meeting with the Count before they were deployed. The Count was so hesitant, making him think this must be some major task. But surprisingly, it was simple. The Count just needed help with a messy situation. He had to deal with a bunch of undisciplined mercenaries running wild. These guys were just roaming the land, looting and pillaging from the innocent people. Our guy was pretty confused, since that really sounds like a job for knights. The Count let out a heavy sigh, explaining the reality of his own territory. The knights and these mercenaries were way too close, basically brothers in arms. They fought together, lived together, and always covered for each other's dirty crimes. At first, he looked the other way, thinking it kept the mercenaries working. But now they were getting way too bold, stealing right on his niece's land. He had asked our guy to step in that night, helping to straighten them out. Standing under his gaze, sharp as a blade, the three knights huddled together. They looked just like conjoined twins, shaking in their boots right before him. He declares it is time these stray dogs paid the price for robbing their own. They were terrified, scared out of their minds, as the Master Mage threatened them. He promised to end their lives right there if they ever stepped out of line. By the next morning, the news of his warning had spread across every corner. The mercenaries were so spooked they wouldn't even dare to step outside anymore. His actions left the Count and his niece absolutely thrilled, finally breathing easy. The people were safe again, but then a red-haired knight brought some bad news. He demanded a direct meeting with the Count to point out a major flaw. The soldier bluntly claimed that with things as they were sitting ducks. They were nothing but easy prey for the army of Grimm. He warned everyone. Now pay attention. This is where the strategy shifts. Our guy was skeptical, asking if he really believed that was true right now. After all, Feta still had 400 elite soldiers standing ready for battle. The knight repeated that they were not soldiers anymore, just harmless, waiting prey. He explained that before, their raiding parties constantly looted Grimm's territory during strikes. That constant oppression kept the local people angry, distracting Grimm's forces back home. But ever since they stopped harassing civilians under Ian's strict new orders, the whole situation flipped, and now the town is peaceful and completely stable. This means Grimm can focus all his power, quietly gathering his forces together. He is setting Fedo up in a massive disadvantage, and he is ready. Plus, ever since the soldiers were forced into line by the Mage's harsh punishment, our hero stands up to Grimm, distracting his forces. But ever since they stopped harassing the locals under Ian's pressure, the situation has completely flipped and the townspeople are finally at peace. There are no riots and everything has stabilized, which just means Grimm can focus everything on quietly gathering his forces, pushing Fedo into a massive disadvantage, plus ever. Since the soldiers were forced into line by the magic penalties, the Master Mage, their spirit is fading fast, crumbling under the weight. Hearing this, our lead realizes exactly what kind of mess they're in. They're trapped in a pretty dire spot. The grim news hits hard. The Count is beyond stressed, his head pounding as he strains. Desperate for a solution, he finally turns to our hero for help. They can't lose this fight, not now, not after everything they've done. If they fall, the usurper is going to take absolutely everything they own. Lucy turns to look at him, her face full of worrying and hope. But even under that crushing pressure, he stays calm, steady as rock. He swears the situation isn't hopeless yet, not while he is around. His words pull them back from the edge, lifting their broken spirits. They hang on his every word, waiting for the Master Mage to speak. Behind the red-haired knight, the guards glare, staring him down like enemies. They look at him like he just slapped their own mothers, hostile. These guys clearly don't trust his over-the-top confidence for even a second. You can tell they are plotting something dark behind those cold eyes. The next morning, our guy heads straight to a farmer's small home. The farmer starts shouting, furious at his visitor and that loud crow. It is making such a racket right outside his front door. The moment the door swings open, he moves fast, getting right up close. His eyes are cold, empty, and the farmer is shaking with terror. In a sharp, steel voice, he demands to know if this is the owner. Confused and angry, the farmer snaps back, demanding he identify himself right now. A knight standing nearby quickly steps up to introduce the young man. This is Ian, the personal student of the Master Mage Elves. That name lands hard. The farmer's face turns sheet white instantly. He realizes he just insulted a lord and his heart drops. He collapses, face planting into the mud, desperate to save his own skin. He begs Ian to forgive his total ignorance, trembling on the ground. Now that the stage is perfectly set, our hero moves on. He smoothly shifts into the next phase of his master plan. He coldly declares that this whole harvest is basically finished, dead and gone. Ignoring the farmer's desperate pleas for an explanation, he keeps going. He slams his staff into the dirt and roars a terrifying warning. He claims the first Baron's ancient curse from House Tyrion is here. It is descending upon the wheat fields, and he plays the role perfectly. Lowering his voice, he explains the curse hits anyone holding stolen land. Any property taken from its rightful owner is doomed to wither away. Thinking his entire livelihood is about to vanish, the farmer loses it. He is completely desperate now, begging for a way to fix this. Is there anything at all, he can do to be saved? Our guide just tells him to be quiet, silence, right now. He suddenly acts like he has sensed something deep in the air. His eyes go wide, shocked, like he just got a sign from above. He raises a hand, pure drama, acting like he is hearing the gods. He declares that heaven itself revealed the only way to break the curse. If the rightful heir, Lucy Tyrion, takes her place as Baron, the first Baron's rage would finally be quelled. With that message delivered, he and the knights quickly depart, claiming they just sensed another curse lingering nearby. The farmer is terrified, nearly wetting himself as our guy leaves. He leaves them with one final, chilling warning that the whole land will wither under Green's illegitimate rule. As he repeats this theater in several other locations, rumors of the curse spread like wildfire through the common folk. Before long, people are protesting, demanding Green step down. They want Lucy in power to escape this so-called curse. Meanwhile, his genius strategy is finally reviving the army's broken morale. But some skeptical soldiers are starting to stir. Not everyone is happy with how things are playing out. Late that night, they bring their complaints straight to the Count. Confused by their bizarre attitude, the Count demands answers. He asks exactly what has them so worked up. The soldiers argue their talented mage is playing dirty, spreading rumors about their homeland being cursed. They claim they cannot serve under someone so underhanded. But get this, our guy just fires right back at them. He asks if they are truly dense enough to believe his own lies. The fools still insist his shady tactics make him untrustworthy. In that instant, he realizes his plan has backfired hard. Since he started with a lie, now they doubt everything he says. He lets out a weary sigh, done with their brainless whining. He's sick of these clowns constantly throwing accusations at him. Yet, he knows the knights are the pillars of this army. He can't just ignore them. Seeing the Count's troubled face, he knows exactly what's at stake. The man has to appease them to keep the ranks steady. Deciding to make it easy, our guy steps forward. If they don't want a mage they can't trust, he'll leave. The knights are left completely stunned. They never saw that coming. But he isn't finished yet. He tells them straight to never crawl back begging for help. Because once he walks away, he isn't coming back. To make things easier, our boy decides to step up and speak. If they don't want a mage they can't trust by their side, then he's more than happy to pack up and leave right now. The knights are left fuming. They clearly never saw that move coming. But he isn't finished yet. He lands one more hit on them. He tells them straight, don't even think about crawling back later. Once he walks away, he is not coming back to save them. That never comes back.